My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1: How to Become an Actor. Texas, Galveston County, County High School. 1989, graduation ceremony. Let's welcome the valedictorian, Amy Dunn, the prototype of the book Amazing Amy. Papa Papa. Amid the warm applause of the crowd, a beautiful girl with a unique temperament walked onto the stage, came to the microphone, looked around at the alumni sitting in the front row of seats, and paused for a moment on a handsome boy, then began to speak skillfully. Offstage, the handsome boy with blonde hair, who had been tense with admiration, reluctance, sadness and pain, instantly dissipated, touched his stiff handsome face, and smiled bitterly in his heart. That's right, he is a drama queen. But he was also forced to do so. Anyone who knew that the girl with a unique temperament on the stage was his girlfriend, oh, no, it was his ex-girlfriend who was about to break up and dumped him, and knew what she could do in the future, would respond to her with a humble expression of hypocrisy. As for why he knew the future, haha. Hey, are you okay? At this time, someone next to him gently pushed him. It was a girl. It's okay. The boy instantly immersed himself in the play, lowered his head as if he couldn't bear to say more, and didn't even look at the other person. Hey, it's not that serious, is it? The girl next to him didn't know what to do, and came closer, surprised, and said, it's just a girlfriend, even if she is the magical Amy. But you are Adam Duncan. You have had few girlfriends, so why do you have this expression of pure love? Juno, don't get so close. Adam dodged to the side to avoid the girl's approach, and glanced nervously at Amy, who was speaking on the stage. Seeing that she didn't pay attention to this side, he was relieved. Are you afraid of her? Juno seemed to understand something, and smiled strangely. So you are afraid of her? What are you talking about? Adam's heart tightened, but he changed his expression to a puzzled expression without making a sound, and looked at the girl next to him. This was a pretty girl with delicate features, which met his aesthetic taste in his past and present lives. However, she had many more freckles than the girls from the East Country, which greatly reduced her beauty. Moreover, she was wearing a red hoodie. The red was so dazzling, and combined with the girl's playful eyes that saw through everything, he dared not look directly at her. Oh, it's so hard for me. Adam couldn't help but sigh in his heart. This is another tough character. You are just afraid of her, Juno said with a positive smile. I'm not. Don't talk nonsense. I didn't. Adam subconsciously denied 3 times. Don't admit it. Juno raised the corner of her mouth and leaned over again. Stop. 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 Adam was startled, quickly glanced at the stage, touched his neck, and smiled bitterly. What do you want to do? Nothing. Juno obviously understood that missiles are most powerful when they are on the launch pad. She sat up straight and said casually, hey, why do I see you always peeking at a little boy recently? Buzz. When Adam heard this, his head buzzed and his body went cold. He was about to use his acting skills to deal with the magical Amy on the stage, but then he thought that the person next to him was even more terrifying than the future Amy. So he put away his acting skills and decided to tell the truth. Are you talking about Sheldon? He is a genius and will skip a grade to go to high school. I want to be friends with him, grow smarter, and get into a good university in the future. Hey, what you said is actually true. Juno turned her head and stared at Adam for a long time. This time, Adam mustered up the courage to look her in the eye, because he was indeed telling the truth. Of course it's true. You know we are a public high school, and the teachers are limited. If you want to get into a good university, you should find a genius classmate to tutor you, Adam said cautiously. Is it okay? Of course it's okay. Juno smiled. I just didn't expect that the famous rock man Adam Duncan would also want to study hard. Before Adam could breathe a sigh of relief, Juno changed the subject. But you don't have to find him. I can help you with your homework. Boom. Adam was struck by lightning, and he was stunned. He stammered, You help me? Why? Do you think I don't have the ability? Juno smiled. No. Adam shook his head. Although the other party was as terrible as his ex-girlfriend, Her grades were still very good. She was one of the few top students in public high schools. After all, her IQ was there. "So you have a problem with me?" Juno's tone was a little playful. "No, no." Adam shook his head quickly. "Neither this nor that." Juno narrowed her eyes. "Could it be that you have really changed your personality and like this little Sheldon more?" Adam frowns, keenly aware of the danger in Juno's words, and shouted in his heart, "Damn system, I hate you. If you were not useless, I would not be so scared." Adam, who was furious in his heart, smiled and said, "Don't joke, I'm just afraid of bothering you. After all, my reputation." "I'm not afraid," Juno interrupted. "Anyway, I'm a freak in the eyes of others. 4 out of 5 psychologists say that I have problems, but I'm fine too. Don't care too much about other people's eyes. It's too tiring to live like that." Having said this, Juno paused, looked at Adam, and said meaningfully, "You were fine before. Even if you change your personality, don't turn in the wrong direction." "But I'm afraid." Adam's mouth twitched, but he didn't dare to say what was in his heart. He smiled bitterly. "Don't worry, I know what I can and can't do. I really just want to make friends with Sheldon. As long as you are happy." Juno smiled. "The last question? You say?" Adam breathed a sigh of relief. Juno stared at Adam, and said word by word, "You are afraid of me too. Why, Don't?" Adam was speechless, and after a long while he murmured, "I am famous, and you often dress like Little Red Riding Hood. Now I just want to study hard and make progress every day, and I really don't want to cause any trouble." "Little Red Riding Hood." Juno chuckled and turned her head away from Adam. Adam sat there woodenly, his eyes following Amy's speech on the stage, making all kinds of dramatic expressions at any time, trying to hold on for the last period of time, but in his mind he was looking at the nameless system with only one panel and no spirituality. Wisdom, 108, normal 100, 120 excellent, 140 genius, 180 super genius, strength, 180, normal 100, 200 strong, 500 super strong, 1000 not human, endurance, 300, normal 100, 200 excellent, 500 is just show, 1000 is not human, speed, 140, normal 100, 200 excellent, 500 is just show, 1000 is not human, lifespan, 35.06, died young, normal 80, 100 excellent, 150 is just show, 200 is not human, others, locked ding, wisdom +1 ding, speed +20 Ps, voted internally, please collect and recommend. Chapter 2, The Lost Lover. County High School. Graduation ceremony. Increased. Both wisdom and speed increased. Adam's wooden face showed some joy. He had been here for more than a year. Even if this nameless system was rubbish, he gradually figured out the use of the system. Wisdom seemed to be directly linked to IQ. There was no response in the past year. Adam speculated based on the growth rules of several other attributes that this should be related to his friend's IQ. As the saying goes, a man becomes wiser when he is near a wise man. If you stay with a wise man for a long time, you will always become a little smarter. So when Adam learned that a 9-year-old boy named Sheldon Lee Cooper in the middle school skipped the 5th grade and would directly enter the 9th grade of high school next semester, he decided to make friends with him. This is a super genius with an IQ of 187. But before he could make friends with Sheldon, Juno, a classmate, suddenly gave him a surprise. It was really a surprise and joy. What surprised him was that she actually noticed him, which made him shudder. What made him happy was that wisdom finally increased for the first time. It seemed that his speculation should be correct. Contact with geniuses with high IQs can really increase wisdom, but this kind of increase is too dangerous. Although strength, endurance, and speed are all very useful attributes, they do not help his lifespan much. Only the improvement of wisdom can really help him get rid of the tragedy of premature death, because according to his exploration over the past year, the increase in lifespan seems to rely on merit, and it must be direct merit done by himself, such as helping an old lady cross the road, helping an old man pat his waist, etc. But these things grow too slowly. Adam did it for half a year to accumulate 0.05 years, which was not enough to make ends meet, but it was better than nothing. Fortunately, he saved a kid crossing the road once, which gave him hope, because that time he directly increased his lifespan by 0.01. After that, he figured out that saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. If he wants to increase his lifespan, he still has to study medicine, and he has to be a top surgeon. Only in this way can he save people stably and safely. But then he ran into trouble. As an ordinary person, he inherited the body of a cute and scumbag who was worse than him. The chance of studying medicine and becoming a top surgeon is too low. Doctors and lawyers in the United States are both representatives of the middle class. This means that as long as you become a doctor or a lawyer, you have entered the middle class. With a little effort, you can be the best in the middle class. Therefore, the competition is very fierce. First, you have to complete your university studies and get a bachelor's degree. Then you have the opportunity to compete with classmates, seniors, and even teachers, construction workers, or other unrelated people who want to change careers in their 30s or 40s for the opportunity to enter medical school. After 4 years of medical school, not everyone can graduate, and the elimination rate is also very high. After that, there are 3 to 7 years of residency. During the internship, working 100 hours a week is a routine operation. Only those who survive are considered qualified doctors. Even so, there is still a long way to go before the top. During this period, you need to memorize a huge amount of medical knowledge. Without a good brain and a firm will to work hard enough, what can you do? Fortunately, he has a system. Even if it is a dog system, it also gives him the opportunity to improve his wisdom and reduce the difficulty of learning. Otherwise, even if he has a stamina of up to 300 and can double his efforts, his chances are slim. It is true that diligence can make up for one's shortcomings, but he really doesn't have much time. These thoughts flashed through his mind, and Adam looked at the attribute panel again. The strength attribute seemed to be related to positive energy emotions such as family and friendship, and speed should be related to negative energy emotions such as fear. As for endurance, well, he hasn't figured it out yet. Papa. Another round of enthusiastic applause woke Adam up, and his face instantly became into the play. Amy, who slowly walked down the stage, really looked at him, saw his expression, smiled slightly, and then looked away. After the ceremony, the graduates were wearing bachelor's gowns and taking pictures outside. The drama queen Adam was very dedicated and came over again, took a few photos with Amy, whom he loved deeply, and only left after Amy reminded him repeatedly, "Amy is too much." Not only is she an old cow eating young grass, but she also turned her face and didn't recognize people. Adam is so pitiful. The girls who saw this scene condemned it one after another. It was because Adam had an ordinary face. Even though Adam had traveled through time for more than a year, he was still often amazed every time he looked in the mirror. So Adam understood the romantic style of his predecessor, who could even pick up a senior who was a few years older than him. It was reasonable. Hearing the faint condemnation, Amy smiled even sweeter and completely let Adam go. She would leave here and start a new life soon. There was nothing here for her to miss. She let go of everything on her own initiative. Perfect. Pushing the bike and looking back every few steps, Adam left the school. After he could no longer see the school, Adam got on the bike, stared wildly, and sped away. There were few vehicles on the suburban roads, and at this time, there was not a single vehicle to be seen. The tall trees on both sides of the lane blocked the sunlight, making it shady and cool, like a rural scene in the United States. After riding for a long time in one breath, he looked back and saw that there was no one on the straight road. Adam finally couldn't help but screaming, wantonly venting the frustration he had felt for more than a year. He was just an ordinary person, but after traveling through time, he was forced to become a drama queen. Don't mention the bitterness and frustration in it. It's all tears. But he had to do this. His ex-girlfriend, the magical Amy, was really magical. She was good at controlling everything and arranged everything for Adam. After the initial excitement, Adam soon got tired of it. But after recognizing this Amy, she was the girlhood of the heroine in the classic thriller love movie he had seen in his previous life, the vanishing lover, and he was convinced it was impossible to break up, and he would never take the initiative to break up in this life. The only thing he could do was to pretend to be nice and let Amy let go. Fortunately, Amy in her teenage years was just the restlessness of adolescence for Adam, and there was no taste of love. At the time of graduation, she took the initiative to break up, with pity but determination. Adam's mood at that time was as complicated as it could be. Not only did he have to suppress the ecstasy in his heart, but he also had to show many emotions such as love, reluctance and pain. Once he showed a little happiness, Amy would definitely notice it. After losing what she thought was the control, she would definitely take revenge on Adam by any means. At the least, his reputation would be ruined and he would be thrown into prison. At the worst, he would die tragically with a knife in his throat. You can never imagine how she will retaliate against you. Are you afraid? Fortunately, everything is over. I am free. I am finally free. Chapter 3 The Duncan Family. Duncan's house. Hi, Charlie, look at you. You're only 9 months old. So cute. A blonde girl of about 14 or 15 years old was filming a baby girl with a DV camera. The baby girl was confused but clapped her hands to show her respect. After all, this was her sister who often took care of her, and she couldn't afford to offend her. Look at how cute I am. The blonde girl was at the age when she loved beauty the most. Even though her sister clapped her hands in response and was so cute, she immediately moved the camera away and pointed it at herself, taking a beautiful selfie. I'm your sister Teddy. I'm taking a video diary to help you gain a foothold in our, special family. This is Dad and Mom. At this point, Teddy pointed the camera at a middle-aged couple. The man was tall and burly but bald as expected. The woman had blonde hair and a motherly look on her face. They were obviously dressed up carefully. Teddy, are you sure you can do it? Mom Amy Duncan was a little worried. Or we shouldn't go. Bob, Teddy. Dad Bob looked at his eldest daughter inquiringly. I can do it, Teddy insisted. You can't remember how long it has been since you went out on a date alone. Let's have fun tonight. It doesn't matter how late you come back. And PJ is here. Ha, he's here just now. Adam pushed the door open and walked in. Teddy hurried over and pointed the DV camera at Adam. Charlie, this is your big brother PJ. Call me Adam. Adam interrupted and smiled at the camera. Charlie, I'm your big brother Adam. Using video diaries to record the growth of his sister and the warm daily life of the family is a very loving act. Adam naturally supports his sister Teddy. After all, he is ordinary and not afraid of not being photogenic. After all, he is always so ordinary. Well, it seems that Big Brother really doesn't like the name given by Grandpa. Teddy shrugged and smiled. But that's right. If Grandpa had named me with 2 toilet words, I would definitely go crazy. It's not easy for Adam to stick to it for so many years. Long live understanding. Adam raised his hands. Hey, it seems someone is in a good mood. Mom was keenly aware of Adam's mood and asked cautiously, did you get back together with that girl from the Dunn family? Let me tell you, we all don't like her, right, Bob? Haha. Bob laughed, but did not agree, and gave Adam a look of wishing him the best. Teddy? Amy rolled her eyes at Bob fiercely and looked at Teddy again. Charlie, ask your eldest brother what's the good news. Teddy did not respond, but changed the subject to tease his younger sister. She did hate Amy Dunn, but she could not agree, because she was also preparing to fall in love. If Mom didn't like her and dragged the whole family to denounce and destroy it, then what was the point of falling in love? This bad mouth must not be opened. You little conscienceless people. Mom cursed angrily. Hey, Mom, I'm not good enough. It was me who took the initiative to ask you to go out on a date to relax. Teddy smiled. So that's how it is, Adam continued. Then go ahead. Charlie has me and Teddy, so don't worry. Mom, don't think too much. Amy and I are done. She's on her way to New York now. I'm happy because I suddenly came to my senses. Great. Mom jumped up and clapped her hands in joy. PJ. Oh, no, Adam, I'm glad you can come to your senses. Mom won't be wrong. That Amy Dunn is not suitable for you at all. How can you manipulate a man like a doll? You are so naive. I'm really afraid that you will be ruined by her. Fortunately, she is gone. Let her harm other people, as long as it's not you. Thank God. Adam's acting skills are very powerful and he is very dedicated. He even fooled his family, which made his mother anxious and angry. Teddy rolled his eyes and complained in his heart, "He is naive, haha." Adam understood what Teddy meant and smiled reservedly. Although he had dated many girlfriends and was forced to become a drama queen, he was really a good boy. "Honey, it's almost time." Dad Bob held his watch in front of Mom Amy's eyes. They had ordered a big dinner tonight. "Go, have fun." Teddy held Charlie and followed Bob and Amy to the door. He looked down at his little sister and added a reminder, "But don't play too much. There are enough children at home." Haha. Amy and Bob were both happy. Amy teased her little daughter Charlie and pushed the door open. Bob was about to leave but was stopped by Teddy. "I'm serious," Teddy said seriously. "Don't." Bob's mouth twitched and he couldn't laugh anymore. Of course, he understood what Teddy meant. "Bob," Amy's urging came from outside the door. "I'm coming." Bob smiled awkwardly and walked out quickly. "Okay, now let's divide the tasks evenly." Teddy held Charlie and arranged, "We will each take care of Charlie for an hour. Who wants to come first?" "Adam, Gabby." "You thought of me at this time?" On the sofa in the living room, a little boy in his teens was sitting there with his arms folded on his chest, complaining, "I thought you couldn't see me." "How could that be? I just planned to use you as the finale." "You know that the most important people always appear at the end." Teddy was a little embarrassed. She really forgot about her younger brother just now, but she would not admit it. She quickly handed Charlie to Adam to hold, took the DV camera and pointed it at Gabby. "Charlie, this is your second brother Gabby." "Gabby, what do you want to say to Charlie?" "Haha." Gabby sneered at the camera. "You ruined my life." "Okay, it seems that Gabby needs more time to get used to you." Teddy forced an explanation to the camera, "Because you are a bit like a surprise." "I thought surprises were good things." Gabby complained sharply. "Okay, Teddy, let's take care of Charlie." Adam held Charlie and said with a smile, "We will take turns for 1 hour each." "Do you really dare to let Gabby take care of her?" "You can try." Gabby laughed. "You make sense." Teddy thought of Gabby's usual bear and immediately gave up the idea of letting Gabby take care of Charlie. She didn't want to see a family tragedy. "Since Gabby is not included, can we each take 2 hours? You go first." "You know, I have an appointment to study with someone later, and 1 hour is not enough." "Appointed to study with someone?" Adam understood and teased. "That's perfect. I just took extra classes to the 8th grade recently." "Let's go together." "Let Charlie sit aside and play." "Charlie is very well behaved and won't affect us, right, Charlie?" "Ha!" Charlie was held by Adam and swayed, clapping her hands and laughing. "Don't." Teddy was dumbfounded. Her parents were persuaded by her to go out on a date. She had prepared lipstick and mouth freshener. Could it be that she wanted to study with her brother while taking care of her little sister? Chapter 4 Little Red Riding Hood comes. Duncan's house. Adam. Teddy was confused for a long time, and when he saw Adam's playful eyes, he suddenly understood and shouted in dissatisfaction. Okay. Adam raised his hand in moderation. "Teddy, let's do as you say. I'll take care of Charlie for 2 hours first, and then it's your turn." This is the United States after all. Although Adam is the eldest brother, he can't be too involved in Teddy's budding love. "The living room is yours. The basement is mine." Teddy's eyes rolled and he was asking for more. Everyone knew that the basement was the best place for a date. "Don't think about it," Adam flatly refused. "You can only study in the living room. Or we can study together. You choose." "The living room is the living room." Teddy pouted. She was not rebellious by nature. She had always been a good girl. She knew that such things could not be bargained for. Moreover, she was very simple and didn't have so many unspeakable thoughts. Ding dong. The doorbell rang. "I'll open it. I'll open it." Teddy jumped up and ran over while shouting. When he came to the door, he didn't open it immediately. Instead, he took out a small mirror from his jeans, adjusted his hair and expression, and then opened the door. He leaned against the door and gave the visitor the sweetest smile. "Hi, Spencer." "Hi." Teddy the visitor was a tall and handsome guy, pretending to carry a school bag, but Adam knew at a glance that there were no books in it. "Hey, you little brat. This is my brother Adam, and this is my friend Spencer." After Teddy introduced the two of them briefly, he didn't wait for Adam to speak and turned his face directly. "Adam, Aren't you going to take Charlie out to play? Go ahead, we still have to study. What's the hurry? Adam ignored Teddy and said to Spencer, who had a reserved smile on his face that looked like a copy of him, "Did you bring a book? Do you want me to lend you one?" Spencer's smile froze. How could he respond to this? Was he here to study? "You don't need to borrow it." Teddy didn't see how embarrassed her boyfriend was, so she elbowed Adam and urged him, "We have books." "Adam, take Charlie there." Then she gave Adam a threatening look. "Just keep it in mind. Charlie and I are in the basement. Call us if you need anything." Adam looked at Spencer, who was silent and reserved, like a copy of himself, and said meaningfully, "We can all hear it." Hee. Spencer's mouth twitched, and he laughed dryly twice. The temperature hidden in his eyes dropped a few degrees in an instant, and he became uncomfortable. Adam carried Charlie to the basement, which is a classic structure of a Milton country villa. Almost every family has a basement, which can be used to store sundries, as an activity room, and as a place for people to live. According to Mother Amy, those who have 3 children are cowards, and those who continue to have children are warriors. The Duncan family is undoubtedly a warrior family, but it also brings a problem, that is, the room allocation problem. The first floor is a large living room and kitchen. There are 3 rooms on the second floor. Bob and Amy live in the master bedroom. The next room belongs to Charlie, which has a baby cry monitor. This is the United States, where personal freedom is very important. There is no habit of sleeping with the child for many years in the East. Although it is a bit troublesome, it can indeed avoid many embarrassing problems. For example, Sheldon Cooper, the friend Adam is going to make, has complete memory when he was 1 or 2 years old, and he also has high-definition image memory, which makes him afraid to hear some of his parents' catchphrases, because it will make him recall memories that he shouldn't remember. The remaining room on the second floor was originally occupied by Adam and Gabby, but after Adam traveled through time, he didn't want to live with the naughty child Gabby, so he took the initiative to move to the basement. The basement is very large. In addition to Adam's bed, it can also be used as an activity room, where Adam plays various rock instruments. Game consoles and TVs are placed. Teddy and Gabby also wanted to live here, but were suppressed by Adam. He was not as cute as his predecessor. He was always teased by his younger brothers and sisters even though he was the eldest. Teddy didn't get the basement, and he didn't want to be too close to his parents, so he had to move to the attic on the 3rd floor. "Charlie, you have to be good. Big brother is going to read." Adam put his little sister on the sofa, gave her a toy to play with, and then sat aside to read the textbook seriously. It is said that students in the United States have a light burden and advocate happy education, but those are the abandoned lower masses. The enthusiasm of children in the real elite class is even more exaggerated than that of the East. The number 4 is the nightmare of these elite high school students. In order to achieve the highest GPA of 4.0, they have to drink 4 cups of coffee almost every day and sleep only 4 hours a day. This level of hard work is definitely more than that of high school students in the East. Adam wants to avoid dying young and is determined to become a top surgeon. The first step is to get into a good university. Taking this first step well is a difficult thing for both the predecessor and the present. The knowledge structure of the predecessor PJ can be summarized in one sentence, which is what his sister Teddy often said to 9-month-old Charlie when they were joking. You have a great chance to go to high school with your big brother Adam himself, although he went to college, but every Easterner knows that the peak of personal knowledge is the college entrance examination. Only then can one truly know everything about astronomy and geography, and be able to travel the world without fear with math, physics and chemistry. After graduating from college, one can only say wow to travel the world. Therefore, Adam is now a real poor student. He has to review all the courses from the beginning. The courses in the United States are different from those in the East, which makes Adam's learning more difficult. It took a full year to catch up with the progress. He is about to go to high school. The 4-year GPA has a great impact when applying for college. Adam must strive for a GPA of 4.0. In a public high school with weak teaching staff, it is definitely helpful to find a genius classmate to study with. This is also one of the important reasons why Adam wants to make friends with Sheldon. Adam, who abandoned these distractions and really studied, said, "Learning makes me happy." The living room on the first floor. Teddy and Spencer sat on the sofa, leaning against each other, with a book spread out in front of them. Both of them had flickering eyes. No one was interested in reading what was written in the book. Occasionally, their eyes met, and sparks seemed to flash. "I'll get a pencil." "I have one." After a long stalemate, Teddy took the initiative to speak in code, and Spencer immediately responded. The two pretended to turn around and look in their respective school bags. Teddy took a lipstick and drew in front of a small mirror, and Spencer took out a mouth freshener and sprayed it in his mouth. "I think I forgot my pencil at school." "Me too." When Spencer said this, he blew a breath at Teddy, and Teddy took a deep breath, and the smile on his face became sweeter. Ding dong. Just as the two were getting closer and closer, the doorbell suddenly rang, scaring them both. "I'll go open it." Teddy smiled apologetically, then stood up and ran over angrily, opening the door while asking, "Who is it?" "Excuse me, is Adam Duncan here?" Outside the door, a girl of the same age said with a smile, "My name is Juno McGough, and I'm his classmate." "Hello." Teddy looked at the girl in a red hoodie, and thought of his own brother's romantic life. A trace of pity flashed in his eyes, and he thought to himself, "Poor little Red Riding Hood, she actually took the initiative to find the big bad wolf." Chapter 5. What I Saw. Duncan's house. "Why are you here?" Adam looked at Juno, who was brought in by Teddy, with a look of shock. "Didn't I say before that I would help you with your homework?" Juno smiled and began to look around. "Hey, it's quite clean and tidy." "Is this your sister?" "Yeah." Adam nodded subconsciously, and his brain began to work rapidly. What's going on? Just after sending away a ruthless character, before he could be happy for an hour, another ruthless character came after him. The former can be reasonably explained by his ordinary appearance, but the latter doesn't seem to like men. Is it really because he wants to make friends with 9-year-old Sheldon Cooper that she is targeting him? That's not right. Although Sheldon is a child, he is only a 15-year-old teenager. Even if he has some unspeakable thoughts, it is at most to blame his brother, not his uncle, which is completely out of her hunting range. Or is it really, as she said, out of friendship between classmates? She took the initiative to help out of kindness because she liked him? What are you thinking about? Juno looked at Adam with changing eyes with interest, and said playfully, "Are you wondering why Juno suddenly wants to help me so actively? Is she interested in me? Or do you have some ulterior motives?" "It's a bit unexpected." Adam opened his eyes wide and looked at Juno. It seemed that all his thoughts were reflected in the other's smart eyes. His scalp tingled and he nodded with a dry laugh. Juno and his ex-girlfriend Amy are both tough characters, but they are still very different. Amy is the hard-working and accumulating type. Otherwise Adam would not be able to grow into an acting queen in front of her. But Juno in front of him is a high IQ and talented type. She can see through your mind at a glance and make you know where to hide. This is too scary. Therefore, facing Juno, Adam didn't dare to act at all, but just answered the questions honestly, fearing to cause unnecessary misunderstandings and conflicts, which would be really painful. Hee. Juno smiled, tilted her neck slightly, and there was still a bit of shyness on her delicate face. Her acting skills were much better than Adam's, which made Adam feel uneasy. Then he chuckled, "Okay, I won't tease you anymore. Let me tell you, it's not what you think." "What is that?" Adam's mouth twitched. "I just like you." Juno walked to Adam and sat down. While flipping through Adam's books, he said casually, "There are really too few students like you who are willing to help old ladies cross the road and massage the waist of old grandfathers. And it's not just once or twice. Although you are a playboy, you are a very rare kind-hearted person." "A playboy? Is this a compliment?" Adam didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but he was relieved in his heart. It seems that he has been working hard to do good things for half a year. Although it is a drop in the bucket to extend his life, it is not without benefits. Of course. Juno's lips curled up. "If it weren't for this reason, do you think I really like you?" "How could that be?" Adam shook his head with a dry laugh. "I don't have many friends, and even fewer friends I like." Juno picked up the book and shook it. "My grades are not bad, and you just happen to need help. How about it? Are you willing to make friends?" Juno looked very sincere, and the reason she gave was reasonable, but Adam still wanted to refuse subconsciously. It was because of his instinct to seek benefits and avoid harm, but he couldn't think of a suitable excuse for the time being, and God knew whether repeatedly refusing the other party's reasonable requests would anger her. Letting her think that he had something to hide or looked down on her was not something Adam was willing to face. Forget it. He had never done anything wrong in his life, and he was not afraid of ghosts knocking on the door in the middle of the night. Besides, he was just an ordinary friend with a moderate distance, not a girlfriend like Magic Amy who was at a negative distance. Will it be too much trouble for you? It's mutual learning. What's the trouble? Seeing Adam acquiesce, Juno's smile became much more sincere. She had changed 5 psychologists at such a young age. In the eyes of outsiders, she was an alien and a freak. Not having many friends was a euphemism. In fact, she had always had a female friend who was not close to her. Have you reviewed here? Yes. Do you have any questions? How do you know? I see that I turned over these pages more. Your observation ability. Then can you guess where I have questions? I'm not sure about that. Why? Everyone's way of understanding and cognitive impairment is different. Some questions can be difficult for ordinary people, while some questions can be difficult for geniuses. I don't know which one you are. With the help of the genius top student, Adam's learning progress was accelerated at once. After all, he had decades of experience in his previous life. Now it was only 1989. Many problems were not because he didn't understand, but because he couldn't change his way of thinking. You're quite smart. An hour later, Juno was somewhat surprised at the learning progress of Adam Duncan, the always poor student. It seems that you are willing to work hard and you can really get into college. Just get into college? Adam, immersed in the joy of deep learning, said with dissatisfaction. My bad. Juno smiled. Well, it should be a good university. No hope for the Ivy League? Adam frowned. He did not forget his goal. In order to become a top surgeon, every step in the future must be the most solid, and getting into the Ivy League is the first solid step. The Ivy League is a university alliance composed of 8 universities in the United States, including Columbia University, Harvard University, Princeton University, Yale University, University of Pennsylvania, Brown University, Cornell University and Dartmouth College. It is synonymous with the top universities in the United States. It's not that easy to get into the Ivy League, Juno reminded. Our school is a public high school, and most of the geniuses go to private middle schools. They are smarter and harder working than you, and they have better platform resources than you. If you check the list of our school's admitted Ivy League schools every year, you will know how difficult it is. Can you do it? Adam suddenly asked. Haha. Juno smiled without saying anything, and everything was self-explanatory. Although most geniuses go to private middle schools, not all of them. There are always 1 or 2 who stay in public high schools for various reasons, and the few Ivy League admission lists every year are supported by them, and Juno is obviously such a genius. If you can do it, so can I. Adam encouraged himself. Keep it up. Look, what do I see? Just as the two smiled at each other and the gap disappeared, suddenly an exaggerated smacking sound came. Chapter 6 Treatment of the Protagonist. Duncan's house. Adam Duncan the man who came was an African American, about 15 or 16 years old. He was not as strong as the average African American. He was a little thin, with his arms folded across his chest. He squinted and said sarcastically, "So this is what you call studying hard by giving up PGA and the dynamic band?" "I've changed my name now," Adam said helplessly. "Emmett. There is no PGA and the dynamic band anymore, and I am indeed studying hard." "Do you only see Juno? Please, the books are here. Can you be more pure in your thoughts?" "Hi, Emmett." Juno greeted him with a smile. They were all classmates, so they knew each other naturally. It was just that one of them was weird and the other was non-mainstream, so they didn't have much contact before. "Hi, Juno." Emmett nodded flattered, without any weird look that he had just shown to Adam. Juno's freckles on her face greatly reduced Adam's interest in her, but she was very much in line with Western aesthetics, a 100% little beauty. How could Emmett resist her charm? The reason why he mocked like that just now was that Adam disbanded his band, which was only a small part. What was more important was that he saw Adam had a beautiful girlfriend on the left and a beautiful girlfriend on the right. Juno, who had just been dumped by amazing Amy and turned around to ignore everyone, took the initiative to come to study with him. It would be strange if he didn't feel jealous. "Are you really studying?" Emmett glanced back and forth at the two people's faces with a suspicious look. "Of course." Juno's mouth curled up. "What else can you do?" Emmett paused. He still had to maintain the demeanor he should have in front of a beautiful woman. Naturally, he couldn't keep talking about it. Moreover, he sincerely hoped that what Juno said was true. He smiled and said, "Can I join?" "You want to join?" Adam looked at Emmett with a smile. "What's wrong?" Emmett was a little embarrassed by Adam's little eyes. He really didn't like to study, but that didn't mean he didn't have a good study partner. If he had Adam's conditions, any girlfriend would encourage him. "Do you believe that he could get into the Ivy League school in a minute?" "No problem. Welcome to join." Adam didn't refuse. On the contrary, he was quite happy. "First of all, Emmett is the best friend of my predecessor. In the United States, where everything is correct, as the protagonist, a must-have configuration is an African-American supporting role like Emmett, just like the fat man who must be with the protagonist of a novel in my previous life. If I remember correctly, neither my predecessor nor Emmett went to college in the future. With the help of my predecessor's good cooking skills, they started a fast food truck together. They are really good brothers for life." After Adam traveled through time, although he disbanded the PGA and dynamic band of the two, he was still impressed by Emmett, who had a good personality, because of the influence of his predecessor's emotions. They usually played together, but because he didn't like to study, they gradually didn't contact as frequently as before. Emmett is really willing to make progress, and Adam is also happy to see it happen. Secondly, it was to dilute the weird feeling when being alone with Juno, so as to avoid any really fragrant incident. He was half believing and half doubting Juno's reasons. If Juno really wanted him to force her, he might not dare to resist. "Let's start." Adam moved to the side, patted the sofa between him and Juno, and motioned Emmett to sit over. "Okay." Emmett's eyes lit up, revealing a mouthful of white teeth, and he came over with a flash of dance moves trained in street dance. Instead of sitting down, he pretended to bow to Juno and made a gentleman's salute. "Okay." "Of course." Juno smiled. Emmett sat down happily, looked at Adam on the left and Juno on the right, and excitedly said that he would study hard, and then, there was no more. 3 minutes later, Emmett, who was dizzy and confused, could no longer pretend. He leaned against the back of the sofa and looked at Adam and Juno with a bitter face as they discussed the problem seriously. His ambition to study hard and get into the Ivy League school was instantly shattered. He was struggling to comfort himself. "It's nothing. Studying is not the only way out. We also have specialties such as music, dance and sports." But then he became dejected, because although he could street dance and play drums, he was not good enough to be specially recruited by the university. He. At this time, Teddy's happy laughter came from upstairs, which made Emmett, who was already out of tune, even more upset. He subconsciously shouted, "I really can't believe that Teddy cheated on me." "Teddy didn't cheat on you." Adam raised his head and complained, "because you don't have any relationship at all, and she hardly notices you." "No." Emmett didn't care about Juno beside him. Compared with Juno, he liked Teddy more and retorted, "Our relationship just progressed slowly. Even my mother knows about our relationship." "Adam." "Juno. This reason is really amazing. Who is that guy?" Seeing the two of them dumbfounded and speechless, Emmett smiled triumphantly, then looked at the ceiling angrily. "Spencer, a guy Teddy is obsessed with." Adam thought for a moment and smiled. "If it's really like what you said, why don't you go up and stop it?" "Yeah," Juno echoed, looking at Emmett with a playful look in his eyes. "Do you have any special hobbies?" "Of course not. Of course I have to stop it. I'm going to stop it now." Emmett couldn't stand such a joke. He jumped up suddenly and walked upstairs. "Oh, there's something interesting to watch." Juno smiled at Adam. "Don't you want to go and see it?" "Don't be ridiculous." Adam lay back, stretched his hands and feet, closed his eyes and said, if Emmett had the courage, he would have gone to heaven long ago. 10, 9, 8. Before Adam finished counting down, Emmett's figure had already appeared. "How is it?" Juno gossiped. Emmett smiled awkwardly and covered up. He knows he's wrong. Before he finished speaking, Teddy and Spencer's laughter came from upstairs, and Emmett froze there. Spencer is too tall. I don't know what he ate to grow up. Adam took the initiative to break the awkward silence. Yes, Emmett said angrily. He is actually a head taller than me. He went up to question and wanted to drag Spencer out for a one-on-one fight, but when Spencer stood up and looked down at him, he immediately changed his mind and removed the one-on-one fight, and changed to drag Spencer out and let Spencer take him to the car. Of course, there is no need to say such things. Teddy is not suitable for you. Adam couldn't help but persuade. I think it's not bad for you to get back together with Ivy. Just like Adam has Emmett by his side, Teddy's best friend Ivy is also an African. Emmett and Ivy had a relationship. Think about it this way. Emmett is not a good bird either. Adam looked at Emmett with a fierce look. Well, I hadn't noticed before, but this guy actually wanted to have all his girlfriends. What a joke. Peas. The contract has been sent. Please recommend. Chapter 7 Awakening. Duncan's house. Ivy. Emmett got mad when he heard it, tilting his head and complaining in the unique African-American rap tone. Are you kidding? I don't want to see only a mouthful of teeth in the middle of the night. Juno was stunned and looked at Adam. Is he serious? Very serious. Adam explained. It doesn't matter. Emmett himself is also African-American, so there is no discrimination. Double standard. Juno shook his head and sighed. There's nothing I can do. Adam also sighed. Hey. Emmett was dissatisfied, snapping his fingers in front of Adam and Juno, interrupting. We are discussing my love with Teddy. Don't change the subject. Enough. Thinking that this guy was so insidious that he wanted to take over his best friend, Adam changed his previous casual attitude and frowned. Emmett, Ivy is Teddy's best friend, and Teddy is my sister. So? Emmett was stunned. So don't make fun of Teddy anymore. Adam said seriously. I'm not kidding. I really love Teddy. Emmett said anxiously. True love? Adam sneered. If you dare to go up and fight Spencer now, I will admit that you are serious. Otherwise, stop talking nonsense. Although we are friends, Teddy is my sister. Are you serious? Emmett looked hurt, and it was obvious that Adam didn't buy it at all. He said with some shame and anger. Okay, I'll go now. He said so, but his feet didn't move. If he had the body to beat up Spencer, he would have joined the football team or the NBA long ago. What would he have? The key point is that he didn't have it. Forget it. Teddy is my true love, but you are also my brother. Emmett finally chose to follow his heart. Since you don't like it, I will bury my true love in my heart in the future. TSK. Adam and Juno sneered at the same time. Emmett stayed for a while, with Juno around, plus the embarrassing scene just now. He always felt a little uncomfortable. He left after a while. Adam and Juno studied together for a while until they heard the laughter of Bob and Amy coming in from upstairs. Then they packed up and prepared to finish. Do you miss your mommy? Seeing Charlie, who had been playing well on the sofa, suddenly moved around. Adam picked up Charlie and teased her. Mommy. Charlie was very smart and really clapped her hands in response. The smile on her face could melt anyone's heart. So cute. Juno couldn't help but praise. Much more obedient and cute than my sister Libby. Do you want to hug her? Adam glanced at Juno. Okay. Juno took Charlie carefully, looked at her carefully, and said with a smile, in fact, sometimes I wonder what would happen if I was pregnant with one now. Wouldn't it be cool? Ahem. Adam suddenly thought of the scene from the movie Juno, and laughed dryly. That's not cool at all. Believe me, you don't have the conditions to raise a child now. The world is so big. Don't you want to go and see it? It's so boring to be trapped in this small town. It doesn't matter. Juno thought for a while. After the baby is born, it can be given to a family in need for adoption. Adam was speechless. She really did that in the movie. But why is she telling me this now? I don't want to have a baby for inexplicable curiosity, and I can't give it to others after it is born and then continue to live a carefree life. Giving birth is painful, and it will make you fat. Adam racked his brains to try to dispel Juno's idea. What are you talking about? At the stairs, Mother Amy spoke in shock. Judging from her standing posture, It was obvious that she had been here for a while and was just peeping there. Nothing. Adam's mouth twitched, and he walked over to hand Charlie to his mother Amy, while changing the subject to introduce the two parties. "Mom, this is my classmate Juno. Juno, this is my mother Amy. Good evening, Mrs. Duncan." Juno greeted with a smile. "Good evening, Juno." Mom Amy held Charlie, still in a state of shock, looked at Juno carefully for a while, and suddenly smiled. "You can call me Amy." Adam patted his forehead helplessly. "It's getting late, I have to go back." Juno also saw the embarrassment of the scene, pulled the backpack on her back, and reminded her, yes, if you don't go back, your parents will be worried." Amy retracted her gaze that had been looking at Juno, glared at Adam, and ordered, "Adam, you send Juno back, remember to send her home, and then come back quickly. Your father and I have something to tell you." "Oh." Adam could only agree. "Goodbye, Amy." Juno waved her hand. "Goodbye, Charlie." "Charlie, say goodbye to your beautiful sister." Amy took Charlie's little hand and waved. Outside the house, Adam pushed his bicycle and walked side by side with Juno. Amy seems to have misunderstood something. Juno suddenly laughed out loud. "Yeah, there's something to explain when we get back," Adam said with a headache. "It shouldn't be difficult for you, right?" Juno glanced at him. "Why?" Adam was puzzled. "Because you should be very experienced." Juno hit the nail on the head. Adam subconsciously wanted to refute, but he thought of something, changed his tone, and laughed. "That's right, you are really afraid of me." Juno sighed a little disappointedly. "You are too suspicious." Adam laughed dryly. The two walked side by side for a while. Juno kept her head down and didn't speak. Adam was uneasy, but he felt that this awkward silence might be better for him, so he didn't say a word. "I'm here." When they arrived in front of a house, Juno stopped and said lightly, "Yeah." Adam felt uncomfortable and smiled awkwardly. "You go to bed early?" "Yeah," Juno responded, then raised her head and smiled brightly. "Then, see you tomorrow." "Yeah." Adam nodded, but then realized something was wrong. They were just indifferent to each other just now, so why did they suddenly meet tomorrow? Haha. Juno had already pushed the cart into the house laughing. Damn. Adam didn't understand at this time that he was fooled by Juno. If she really stopped contacting him because he was afraid of her, why did she chase him to his house? She already knew it at school during the day. Maybe she is just Juno, not the bloodthirsty little Red Riding Hood. Adam's heart was rippled, and he couldn't help laughing, but then he thought of Amy's interrogation after returning home, and he couldn't laugh anymore. Late at night, Adam, who had finally dealt with his mother's interrogation with great effort, lay down on the bed tiredly. With a stamina of up to 300, he felt tired for the first time so early, and fell asleep soon. At midnight, a ding sound woke Adam up. Ding. Wisdom plus 0.005. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8. Getting to Know You. Duncan's house. Adam was awakened by the system notification sound in the early morning. He was about to curse, but when he saw that the wisdom attribute increased by 0.005 and became 109.005, his anger turned into joy instantly. The increase of wisdom always makes people feel relaxed and happy. Could it be because of Juno? Adam stared at the system panel happily, and then thought, besides her, I haven't come into contact with other geniuses, but she took the initiative to find me yesterday and increased my wisdom point by 1 point. What is this 0.005 now? It can't be that as long as I come into contact with her, there will be an increase every day, right? Thinking of this, Adam opened his eyes wide and said to himself excitedly, maybe it is true. Although other attribute points do not have this growth law, according to the speculated theory that those who are close to vermilion will be red, and those who are close to ink will be black, it is actually reasonable to increase every day after contact. 0.005 is indeed very small compared to 1, but it can be much more powerful than 1 over time. which is completely in line with the theory that those who are close to vermilion will be red, and those who are close to ink will be black. It's like meeting a person with a big brain for the first time. All three views are shocked by the other person's big brain, but to truly subvert the three views or even become a brainy person like the other person, it still depends on the accumulation of contact and change little by little. Thinking of this, Adam no longer wanted to sleep. He tossed and turned, and his mind was full of red figures. If his guess is correct, in order to increase wisdom and achieve the goal and finally increase lifespan, even if Juno is really the bloodthirsty little Red Riding Hood, he will accept it. Anyway, he is not a weird uncle. What is there to be afraid of? By the way, there is Sheldon. Adam turned over again, lying flat there looking at the ceiling, and suddenly thought of Sheldon. Juno has added 1 wisdom point for me, and maybe it can increase by 0.005 points every day. So what about Sheldon, whose IQ is absolutely crushing Juno? Even if Juno is the bloodthirsty little Red Riding Hood who can completely crush and kill the weird uncle's IQ, when it comes to real high IQ, Adam still thinks Sheldon is more sharp. He went to high school at the age of 9. If he was not too young to leave his mother or his mother was reluctant to leave him, Sheldon would not have to wait until he was 11 to go to college. He graduated with the highest honors at the age of 14, was selected as an exchange scholar to go abroad at the age of 15, and then got his first doctoral degree at the age of 16. In the following years, he studied for a second doctoral degree and also got a master's degree in literature. In his 20s, he was a theoretical physicist at the famous California Institute of Technology. His behavior and temper were eccentric, which often made the dean and president hate him, but he still stayed in school. The school board members thought he had a beautiful heart and would win more honors for the school in the future. Before he was 40, he won the highest honor in the scientific world, the Nobel Prize in Physics. Such a super genius, not to mention emotional intelligence. In terms of IQ, Juno could never compare with him. Once he could increase Adam's wisdom, the effect would definitely be beyond imagination. No more waiting. Take action in advance this summer vacation, and get with Sheldon earlier. Maybe I can change my fate earlier. Hey, that's not right. Adam became more and more excited, but suddenly a light bulb went off. Since IQ can be improved by contacting geniuses, why limit it to Sheldon? Are there only these few geniuses around? The conclusion is of course not. The next morning, Adam rushed out of the house and rode his bike to the home of an old classmate, Duke. The two were classmates in middle school, but because of his original body's cute and naive attitude of wanting to wait for his 9-month-old sister to go to high school together, he was held back a grade in middle school. Now Duke is a grade higher than him, and will be a 10th grade student in the second year of high school after the summer vacation. In addition, Duke's father has made money in recent years, and Duke's grades have always been good. Duke's parents gritted their teeth and sent him to a private high school with high tuition fees to receive elite education. The heavy academic workload and class gap basically cut off the contact between the two. PJ, why are you here? Duke was a little dazed when he saw Adam, as if he was in another world. My name is Adam now. Adam also knew this abrupt embarrassment, but he couldn't wait to verify the idea he thought of in the early morning, and said straight to the point, Duke, can you help me? Duke calmed down. After all, he was a playmate in childhood, and he didn't have the idea of pretending to be awesome. He stepped aside and said, come in first. Duke, who is it? A woman leaned out from the kitchen. Mom, it's PJ, Duke responded, my classmate in the county high school. Oh, PJ, I remember you. Your father is Bob from the pest control company, right? Duke's mother looked at Adam a little strangely. Yes, Mrs. Marcus. Adam was too lazy to correct their address, and responded awkwardly. He was used to such looks and fully understood the meaning of these looks. He was so ordinary. But his father Bob was a bald pest control worker. Many people doubted whether his last name was Duncan. Mom, PJ wants to see me, Duke greeted. PJ, come to my room. Would you like to have some breakfast first? I fried Moscow sausages. Duke's mother entertained him warmly. Women, especially housewives, were particularly fond of ordinary boys like Adam. No, "Thank you." Adam politely declined and followed Duke into the room. "Sit anywhere." Duke greeted him and got straight to the point. "You just said you needed my help." "Yes." Adam looked around and saw that Duke's room was not messy. There were only books piled on the desk, no explosive magazines covering it up, and no piles of toilet paper in the trash can. He secretly praised Duke's self-discipline and sat down casually. "There should be a lot of geniuses in your private middle school, right?" "Yeah." Duke was a little surprised, but still nodded and said, "Of course, private middle schools are originally prepared for the elite. In addition to the most important family background, only true geniuses are accepted." Adam understood that the class stratification in the United States is serious, and there are two types of education: elite education and happy education. Happy education is for the general public who are abandoned at the beginning, while elite education is aimed at two types of people. The main body is children from middle-class families and above, and the other is the real geniuses among the common people, as fresh blood to replenish the vitality of the elite class. After all, geniuses are a minority. Private schools will give these geniuses full scholarships to relieve them of their worries, allowing them to become the face of the school, leaving a glimmer of fantasy for the public, and preventing the public from completely equating private schools with aristocratic schools. "Do you know such a genius?" Adam was a little anxious. "Of course I know one. There is one in our class, but the IQ, oh, the gap is too big." Duke sighed, then looked at Adam strangely. "What's wrong?" Adam took a deep breath and asked sincerely, "Can you introduce us to each other?" Chapter 9 Leadership. In the evening, the sun was setting. Alas, Adam sighed as he rode his bike home. It wasn't that Duke didn't want to help. In fact, although Duke was puzzled, he still helped Adam to make an appointment with a genius classmate in the class. After the three of them met, Adam used his well-trained acting skills and the extraordinary common sense of the next few decades to try to make friends with the other party. The other party seemed to have been fooled by Adam, and his attitude towards Adam gradually changed from indifference at the beginning to enthusiasm. But unfortunately, after acting for a whole day, the system did not pop up any prompts from beginning to end, and Adam could only go back in disappointment. "What's the problem?" Adam thought in a distracted manner. From Duke's words and deeds, I can tell that he has a high IQ. He also showed me his closeness and made it clear that we would be friends in the future. But why didn't it work? Is it gender discrimination? The other party is not a woman? Thinking of this, Adam glanced at the system panel and said self-deprecatingly, System, you are not that kind of system, right?" "I don't think so. After all, even if it is a system, it must comply with the first law. There are thousands of roads, but safety is the first. If you drive irregularly, your loved ones will shed tears." There were too few samples and lack of comparison. Adam couldn't figure out the mystery for a while. "It seems that we have to continue." Adam's eyes gradually became firm. "If one genius doesn't work, find another one. If a male genius doesn't work, find a female one." He didn't believe that he couldn't figure out the rules. At night, ding dong. "You're here." Adam ran over to open the door and saw that it was Juno. He greeted her with some surprise. "Not welcome?" Juno looked at Adam in surprise, and the arc of her mouth widened unconsciously. With her eyesight, she could naturally see that Adam was more surprised than frightened by her arrival. In just one day, his attitude was so different. This was interesting. "Welcome, welcome." Adam was still thinking about whether Juno could increase his wisdom points by 0.005 points every day, and he didn't care about the worry that the other party might be a bloodthirsty little Red Riding Hood. After all, people die for money and birds die for food. "Hi." Juno Teddy hugged Charlie and greeted her with a playful voice. Mom Amy's maternity leave ended and she went back to work. Because she was a nurse, she often worked overtime, and Dad Bob was an exterminator. Most houses in the United States were made of wood, so there were serious problems with snakes, insects, rats and ants. Bob often needed to be called out urgently, so he was not at home. Charlie was still young, and Teddy took care of her most of the time. Although Adam was the eldest brother, he only played as an assistant. As for the third child, Gabby, no one dared to count on him. The Duncan family is very similar to Adam's family in his previous life. The parents need to work, and there are many children in the family. Basically, the older ones take care of the younger ones. There are almost no brothers and sisters of similar age who don't fight and quarrel. Although noisy, it is very warm. When they grow up, the relationship between brothers and sisters is very good. It is precisely because of this similarity and warmth that Adam has integrated well and truly regards the Duncan family as his own family. As a family member, Sister Teddy will of course gossip about Big Brother Adam's emotional problems. "Hi, Teddy," Juno nodded calmly. As a weirdo in the eyes of most people, her psychological quality is very good. Teddy's gossiping eyes and tone can't make her have a ripple. "Teddy, Charlie, you are responsible. Is it okay?" Adam asked. "Of course, no problem," Teddy agreed with a smile on her face, and then muttered with some self-mockery, "Anyway, Spencer is not coming today, and it seems that I will never give my first kiss to my family." Yesterday, she asked Spencer to study together, although her parents were persuaded by her to go out on a date, and Charlie was also taken by Adam. There was still a troublemaker Gabby at home. Whenever she and Spencer were close, she would suddenly appear and interrupt the atmosphere. She was willing to try again if it didn't work once, but Spencer didn't have that patience. After several interruptions, Spencer said goodbye directly, which made her hate Gabby, but she could do nothing about it. She could only complain to herself, "Call me if you need anything." Adam didn't bother to pay attention to Teddy's self-pity. He gave instructions and took Juno to the basement. Although Spencer had some problems, Teddy and Spencer finally got together in the original time and space, and they were childhood sweethearts and happy. He didn't want to interfere with their relationship just to show his so-called elder brother's care. Feelings are something that only people know how to feel. Besides, he didn't have the confidence to say anything to Spencer. An hour later. "Oh, God, is this the case again?" Emmett walked in and saw Adam and Juno studying seriously. He patted his forehead and said, "Adam, you can't be a nerd. You have to rock." Bang! At this point, Emmett picked up the drumsticks and hit the triangle hard. "Emmett, you discriminate against nerds now, and in the future it will be the nerds' turn to discriminate against you." Adam moved his neck and retorted casually that rock and roll can't save his life. "How is it possible?" Emmett looked unconvinced. "Don't believe it?" Adam pouted and said, "Go to the city and take a look. Are there more rock musicians or nerds who are doing well? After the indulgence of youth, what's left is a mess." Emmett was stunned, and then he muttered with a bad face, "Damn it, it's true if you think so. In fact, there is no need to separate them so much." Juno said, "You have to read books, and you can also play rock music. The two are not contradictory. On the contrary, they can promote each other." The simplest question is, Adam, besides rock music, what other extracurricular activities do you have? Football? Basketball? Adam shook his head repeatedly. What he values most now is his studies. He has to do charity work in the rest of his time. How can he have time to take care of other things? Besides, his strength and speed are only above average, not even excellent, and he is not superior in sports, so he has no idea of relying on sports to add points to himself. That's it, Juno reminded. For universities, especially top universities, excellent grades are just a stepping stone for admission. If you want to stand out among so many excellent applicants, extracurricular activities and talents that can prove leadership will definitely account for a large proportion. If you don't play sports such as football and basketball, and don't participate in star clubs such as Model United Nations, how will you prove yourself when the time comes? Leadership? Adam frowned and said, "This is not necessary." Where did Sheldon and Leonard get their extracurricular leadership? They were even fighters among rubbish in sports, but they were still able to go to the best universities. Of course it's not necessary. Juno nodded, but the premise is that the grades must be good enough, so good that they are dazzling, such as winning medals in various large-scale scientific competitions. Can you do it? Adam was silent for a long time, and said seriously, "Let's talk about playing rock and roll to prove leadership." Chapter 10 Fruit Hard Candy. Duncan's house. "What's wrong?" Seeing Emmett's contempt, Adam said righteously, "I am also a human being." "Well, humans cannot escape the law of true fragrance." Adam, I find that you have changed a lot in the past year." Emmett's expression was a little complicated. "People always change." Adam remained calm. He often heard words like "you have changed" and "you have grown up" since he crossed over. He no longer had the initial nervousness and uneasiness and took them all as compliments. Although being cute and naive seems to be quite positive and fun, that is only for others. When it comes to himself, it is better to be normal. Anyway, his appearance is ordinary. Even if he is not silly, others will still think he is cute. "Juno, if I play rock again, how far should I go to show my so-called leadership?" This is the huge difference between Eastern and Western cultural thinking. Adam knew that American students value extracurricular activities before, but he subconsciously used Sheldon and Leonard as coordinates, so he didn't care that much. But now, after listening to Juno's analysis, he suddenly realized that he was not Sheldon or Leonard. At least he couldn't become a genius like Sheldon and Leonard in a short period of time. If he is not that kind of genius, and still wants to follow the growth trajectory of geniuses, he will definitely fall into a big fall. You should choose all the club activities you like, because only if you like it can you continue to invest a lot of energy, and only by persistence can you achieve something. Going further and higher in club activities and developing to the point of leading your companions is leadership. Juno patiently explained, "You originally liked rock, and you played rock well. In the absence of better choices, continue to form a band to play rock, participate in various competitions and activities, and strive for some honors for the band. At that time, as the lead singer of the band, it will naturally be a plus." Adam nodded slightly. Although the predecessor was a silly boy, he not only had an ordinary appearance, but also inherited a good voice and rock skills. "I remember that the predecessor was arranged by the school to be the host DJ of the school dance not long after, and also attracted sponsorship, when his father's pest control company was looking for new songs for advertising. The predecessor also tried it. Although the lyrics were speechless, he was hired after all." In addition to the encouragement of his father Bob, the appearance and voice of the predecessor were still desirable. Otherwise, no matter how much Bob supported his son, he would not dare to use such a big thing for his son to practice. After realizing that he had to choose an extracurricular activity as a plus point for applying for college, it would be stupid for Adam to give up this kind of foundation and specialty. "That's it," Emmett said excitedly. "You shouldn't have disbanded our band. PJ and the dynamic band are online again." "Yes." Stop. Adam waved his hand to interrupt. "Emmett, don't get excited. Even if we want to reorganize the band, the name PJ and the dynamic band cannot be used, because I am Adam, not PJ." "What's wrong with PJ? It's very similar to DJ. I think it's great." Emmett pouted and said, "You are PJ and I am dynamic. Perfect." "How about adding me?" Juno interrupted. "Actually, I also play rock and roll, and I play bass guitar. I can be your bassist." "Of course, no problem, because getting along with Juno is likely to increase wisdom." Adam nodded in agreement without thinking, and spread his hands to Emmett. "Now that Juno has joined, we can't still call it PJ and the dynamic band, right? Can she do it?" Emmett looked disgusted. In his eyes, rock bands are men's romance, and girls should applaud them crazily in the audience. Of course, it would be better if four became and. "What's the matter with adding a girl to the band?" Adam did not answer directly, but just signaled Juno with his eyes. Juno understood, stood up and walked to Adam's instrument, opened the guitar case, took out Adam's guitar, and played it skillfully. There is a saying in the East, when the granaries are full, people know etiquette. When they have enough food and clothing, they know honor and disgrace. The United States in this era is at the peak of its national strength and is about to dominate the world. The developed economy and sufficient materials make the United States like the prosperous Tang dynasty in the East 1,000 years ago. After solving the basic food and clothing, the people pay more attention to spiritual enjoyment, and movies, music and other arts are typical. Nerds like Sheldon and Leonard can play one or two instruments. Even if they can't, the most basic art appreciation is almost universal. Juno not only plays rock and roll and guitar, she is also an expert in this field. "Oh, damn." An expert can tell the good from the bad with just one move. Emmett cursed when he heard it. "She's really good." Can I join? Juno loosened her grip, let go of the strings, and smiled mischievously. Adam looked at him deliberately. Okay. Although Emmett was a little reluctant, he still understood the signs. Adam clearly wanted to take Juno to play. In the past, he would definitely stop him. But now Adam has become a guy who has no humanity when it comes to the opposite sex. God knows if he will do something stupid to make him quit for Juno. Then what should we call it now? A two-man and one-woman band? Hey, this name is also quite good. No, Adam and Juno objected in unison. The name Emmett chose was not only vulgar, but also vulgar. How about the Hard Candy Band? Adam thought about it, glanced at Juno's red hoodie, and blurted out, Hard Candy? Emmett said with a strange look in his eyes. We are hard, Juno is candy. What a good name. Hee. Ahem. How about you think about it again? Facing Juno's strange look, Adam's scalp tingled, and he regretted his rashness. What did he say? This is why he has always suspected that Juno has another identity. Fortunately, in this era, the word hard candy does not have the special meaning of later generations. At most, it can be associated with the literal meaning like Emmett did. That's a good name. Juno suddenly smiled, and seemed very satisfied with the name. Adam, you're quite talented. Haha, is that so? Adam laughed dryly. As long as you like it, let's call it Hard Candy. Emmett was excited. Seeing that Juno didn't object, he was more excited than Adam, the lead singer of the band. He waved his hand, as if making the final decision. I am the drummer and backing singer of the band, Adam is the lead guitarist and lead singer of the band, and Juno is the bassist. Our Hard Candy Band will definitely surpass the previous PGA and Dynamic Band and create greater glory. Maybe we are still short of a keyboard player. Adam suddenly had an idea. A combination of two people can be called a band, such as Adam and Emmett before. One is the lead guitarist and lead singer, and the other is the drummer and backing singer. This is the minimum configuration. But to be a little more professional, at least 4 people are needed, such as Juno's self-recommended bassist, who is known as the soul of the band and can play a key role in amplifying the performance of the band. In addition to the bassist, it would be best to have a rhythm guitarist or keyboardist to enrich the diversity of the sound, enrich the harmony effect and make up for the lack of range. And Adam just knew someone who was very suitable to be a keyboardist. Chapter 11 Invitation. Duncan's house. Keyboardist, who? Are you talking about Sheldon Cooper? Compared to Emmett's confusion, Juno instantly understood Adam's thoughts. Yes, Adam said frankly. He's a genius. Wait, are you talking about that little brat? Emmett finally matched the name and immediately burst into swear words. Shit, what does a little brat like him know about rock and roll? Sheldon Cooper's name has long been known. After all, even if he is a genius, it is big news for him to go to high school at the age of 9. Believe me, he will be an excellent keyboard player. Adam is very confident. In his memory, Sheldon has absolute pitch and is familiar with various instruments such as piano, guitar, tambourine, accordion, etc. He plays and sings by himself after getting drunk, which is contrary to his usual cuteness and has a sense of willful and unrestrained. Moreover, Sheldon is also a well-known keyboard player, which definitely meets the requirements of a keyboard player in a rock band. Of course, little Sheldon has not been exposed to music at this moment, but Adam believes that for a genius like Sheldon, as long as he wants, he will definitely be able to get started in the shortest time, which is enough. Adam's most important purpose is to use this opportunity to hook up with Sheldon to test whether he can improve his wisdom. I disagree. Emmett shouted. Adam, tell me, you must be kidding. Why not? Adam advised. He will be our classmate next semester. Do you discriminate against him? Yes, I do discriminate against him. Emmett was anxious. Discrimination is always wrong. After all, Adam stared at Emmett for a long time, and said leisurely, I have a dream. Emmett's mouth twitched, and his face became more and more serious. In the end, Adam's proposal was passed unanimously. Very good. We will go over to invite him tomorrow, and then the Fruit Hard Candy Band will be officially launched. Adam was in a good mood. Are you sure you don't want to wait until school starts? Juno said playfully. Just go to his mother and say, hey, we are all talented people here, and we are just short of a keyboard player. Can your 9-year-old son join us? Adam was stunned. He looked at Emmett, who was frowning because Sheldon was going to join, and then looked at Juno, who was weird in the eyes of the world. Finally, he looked at himself in the mirror, who was unrestrained and uninhibited. With such a lineup, even if he asked a normal classmate, he might be rejected, let alone a weird mama's boy like Sheldon. You know, Sheldon's mother is a devout Christian. Why not? These negative emotions flashed through his mind, but Adam still said with a stiff upper lip, "We are sincere, that's enough. Besides, Sheldon also needs friends, doesn't he? There are still 2 months before school starts. Adam can't wait that long. Everything is to experiment with the law of wisdom. Point growth as soon as possible, improve wisdom and prolong life. That makes sense." Juno was stunned, smiled and nodded. She then remembered that in the eyes of outsiders, little Sheldon was not much different from her. Both were so weird. As parents of such a child, God knows how much effort they put into making their children make friends. Cooper's house. Dinner is ready. A dignified and beautiful middle-aged housewife brought the last plate to the table and shouted loudly. A tall and fat middle-aged man, with a boy of 14 or 15 years old, came over while talking about football, and then a cute little girl of 8 or 9 years old ran over. Shelley, the middle-aged housewife, looked at the 3 people sitting in their respective seats and shouted towards the bedroom. "Here we are." With a slightly sharp child's voice, a little boy of 8 or 9 years old walked over slowly. "Thank God." The middle-aged man was about to cut the steak, and the middle-aged housewife stretched out her hands, one hand to him and one hand to the little girl beside him. The middle-aged man had no choice but to put down the knife and fork, reach out and hold his wife's hand, and hand the other pair of hands to the little boy, closing his eyes and preparing to listen to his wife's daily prayer before dinner. Comma, 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 colon, comma. But her father is a football coach and often hangs out with her older brother who is a football player at school. And because her twin brother is a weird genius, her mother always focuses on him, and she almost becomes a transparent person. The reason why she spoke just now, in addition to sincerely complaining that she doesn't look like a biological child, is more of a habitual way of speaking, so that her parents won't really forget her existence. After the prayer, the family ate and chatted while eating, mainly led by the middle-aged housewife. "Shelley, you will go to high school next semester? Are you happy?" Sheldon, nicknamed Shelley, said happily. Of course, he had long been fed up with the stupidity and ignorance of his peers, such as his twin sister Missy. Of course, he didn't plan to stay in high school for long, because high school students were just as stupid and ignorant, such as his brother George. "What about you, George?" The middle-aged housewife smiled with relief, and then looked at the boy. "Any good mood is ruined by being a classmate with Sheldon," George complained. "Hey, Shelley is your brother. As a brother, you should take care of him," the middle-aged housewife said dissatisfiedly. "You're in trouble." The little girl Missy pouted at her brother George. "Believe me, once you hang out with Sheldon, your circle of friends will be devastated." "I know." George nodded in agreement and said firmly, "So, that will never happen." The middle-aged housewife frowned and wanted to get angry, but after taking one look at Sheldon's indifferent look and the thick gloves on his hands, she sighed in her heart. Although she loved Sheldon deeply, she also knew that Sheldon was difficult to deal with. In the past, she could still make the obedient Missy be Sheldon's classmate and friend, but now after skipping a grade, she couldn't suppress the rebellious George. When she thought of her poor Shelley sitting alone in the noisy school cafeteria, her heart was broken. "God, please give Shelley a friend, even just one." Chapter 12. Naughty Child. The next day, in the morning, ding dong, the doorbell of the Cooper family rang. Mary Cooper, a middle-aged housewife who was doing housework, walked over to open the door and looked at the boy and girl in front of the door in confusion. "Good morning, Mrs. Cooper. I'm Adam Duncan, and this is Juno McGough." Adam smiled brightly, Juno's mouth slightly curved. "Hello." Mary was still confused, so she just smiled perfunctorily. "Is there anything I can do for you?" "It's like this." Adam smiled and said, We will be classmates with Sheldon next semester. Sheldon's genius is well known to everyone. We just happened to set up a study mutual aid club and wanted to invite Sheldon to join us, so that we can make progress together and strive to get into the Ivy League. Is Sheldon here? Yes, yes. When Mary heard it's Sheldon, the smile on her face became much brighter. When she heard that it was a study mutual aid club for getting into the Ivy League, she quickly made way for Adam and the other man to come in, and repeatedly called out, "Shelley, Shelley, please sit down, please sit down. What would you like to drink? Tea or Coke?" "Tea is fine, thank you." Adam's mind flashed back to the time when Howard first came here, pretending to order the local specialty Lone Star beer, and he almost said it out loud, but fortunately he held it back. Juno pouted at Adam. Following Juno's gaze, I saw Mary, who went to the kitchen to make tea, with her back to the side, clasped her hands together, and prayed something in a low voice. "A good start." Adam made a mouth shape. "Who are you?" At this time, little Sheldon came out and looked at the two people with a puzzled look. "Adam Duncan." Adam stood up and stretched out his hand habitually. Little Sheldon looked at the hand stretched out, without any intention of shaking it back, and shook his head and said, "No, thank you, Shelley." Mary came over with tea, and seeing this, she scolded, and then explained apologetically, "Student Adam, Student Juno, don't mind Shelley. He just has some mysophobia." "Understandable." Adam's mouth twitched and forced a smile. Watching Sheldon's words and deeds on TV, it felt very interesting, but when he really faced Sheldon, Adam realized that this guy was really a nasty kid. "Shelley, they are." Mary quickly told the story and looked at little Sheldon with encouraging eyes, her heart full of gratitude to God. Last night she was still worried about her baby being alone in high school, but she didn't expect a miracle to happen this morning. "Thank God." "Study together?" "Great. I like studying the most." Little Sheldon smiled happily. "Do you know what # and %?" Adam was so confused, as if he was listening to garbled characters. He is indeed a super genius. Although he is only 9 years old and has not officially entered high school, the knowledge of high school is still too simple for little Sheldon. His knowledge structure has long surpassed the scope of high school. No wonder all the teachers in high school complained as soon as little Sheldon entered high school. It was not them who taught little Sheldon, but little Sheldon who often instructed them. If the teachers in public high schools are all happy, then soon, little Sheldon, who is tired of the simple basics of high school, will go to university to attend classes every week, and use his outstanding mathematical talent to help university professors improve heavyweight papers related to the professors' careers. This is amazing. Another time, when a NASA scientist came to give a science lecture in a high school, because he treated little Sheldon as a child, little Sheldon was furious and directly completed the mathematical calculation of booster rocket recovery, and then ran to NASA to shock the scientist. Finally, this mathematical calculation was obtained by the real-life Iron Man Elon Musk decades later, and the theory was successfully realized. Before every interview, Elon Musk would secretly take out little Sheldon's paper and read it to prepare. These thoughts flashed through Adam's mind, squeezing out the noisy and headache-inducing garbled code, and Adam felt much better. It was reasonable that he could not understand the genius of this level for the time being. Turning around, Juno also looked confused, and Adam felt better. Although Juno was also a genius, his talent points are more in the humanities, so naturally he can't keep up with little Sheldon's thinking. "Don't you understand this?" Little Sheldon frowned and shook his head in disappointment. "Forget it." That little expression seemed to say, "Stupid earthlings." MMP. Adam and Juno looked at each other, and they could see the depression in each other's eyes. Juno winked, indicating that forget it, and don't mess with such a naughty kid. He's like this when they just met. How can he bear it in the future? Adam shook his head slightly. No matter how naughty little Sheldon is, he has to try to get in touch with him now, because it is related to the increase of wisdom points, and he only needs to play together occasionally like Howard and Rajesh at most, and he doesn't need to be with each other day and night like Leonard, so he can just bear it. After all, this is Adam's favorite TV character. Don't be angry, don't be angry. Life is like a play, because it is destined to meet. The key is that if you get angry and get sick, No one can replace you, Shelley. Mary also noticed something was wrong, and awkwardly tried to smooth things over. You are all classmates. This study mutual aid club is great. You should join it. But they can't help me. Little Sheldon was not polite at all. I don't want to teach them either. They look the same as little George and Missy. Shelley. Mary's face showed a layer of anger. What about the most basic courtesy of being a human being? Okay. Little Sheldon was a mama's boy. He sighed, and apologized insincerely. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said you were stupid. In fact, you are just ordinary. Everyone was speechless for a while. Adam suppressed the surging true energy in his Ren and Du meridians, and said with a dramatic smile, Sheldon is really straightforward. Our study mutual aid club is not only about study, but also about extracurricular activities. After all, if you want to get into the Ivy League, group consciousness is also a very important plus point. Although Sheldon is a genius, no matter how talented he is, he can't show group consciousness alone, right? Yes. Mary was instantly moved. In fact, she never worried about her son's study and going to a prestigious school. What she worried about most was that little Sheldon was too lonely. Life without friends was too terrible. Although little Sheldon appreciated this kind of loneliness more, because the world in his eyes was the sea of stars, there was a kind of loneliness called your mother thinks you're lonely. What Shelley lacks most is extracurricular team activities. Oh, God! At this point, Mary raised her head, trying to suppress the impulse that almost made her eyes burst into tears, and trembled. Thank you so much, Shelley. You have to join, you know. Little Sheldon felt his mother's excitement, was stunned for a moment, and nodded to Adam and said, okay, I'll join. Ding. Wisdom +5. Chapter 13. You don't understand the world of genius. Cooper's house. Oh, my God, Adam blurted out after hearing the wonderful prompt sound of Wisdom +5. Little Sheldon did not disappoint him. Juno provided 1 wisdom point, and little Sheldon provided 5 wisdom points at once. With the increase of this considerable wisdom point, Adam clearly felt the difference, as if the whole world was more vivid, and some of the problems that had troubled him before suddenly had new understandings and insights. Is Adam also a believer? Mary asked in surprise. No. Adam smiled awkwardly. I believe in science more. Okay. Mary was a little disappointed. As the most devout believer, she wished that everyone believed in God, but the reality was that more and more people just used my God as a mantra to express shock. That's good. We finally have something in common. Little Sheldon nodded in agreement. He is a firm believer in scientific supremacy and does not believe in God at all. He does not even use the "oh, my God" that most people use to express shock and exclamation, but says "oh, boy." Oh, right. Mary finally suppressed her emotion and asked carefully, what are the group activities of your study mutual aid club besides studying? We formed a band, Adam said carefully. Although Sheldon will play various instruments in the future and has obviously practiced, he is still too young at the moment. Adam and his friends are playing rock music, which Mary, a devout believer, may not agree with. Rock music? As expected, Mary frowned when she heard it. Mrs. Cooper, don't worry, Adam quickly explained. We play lyrical rock, not heavy metal rock. Sheldon can be our keyboard player, but Shelley is still too young. Mary still frowned. Isn't it suitable? Besides, Shelley has never played an instrument before. It doesn't matter, let Sheldon try it first. After Adam got 5 points of wisdom, he was even more reluctant to give up Sheldon, the big customer, and smiled. If Sheldon doesn't like it, then we will definitely not force it. In this way, seeing Adam said this, Mary couldn't refuse directly. After all, such friends who took the initiative to come to the door were too rare. Even though she was a little resistant to her son playing rock, she had to look at little Sheldon hesitantly. Sheldon? Student Sheldon, many great scientists can play 1 or 2 instruments. Adam quickly bewitched. He was too familiar with Sheldon. If it weren't for Mary's supervision, he could fool Sheldon in a minute, making Sheldon cry or laugh. That was no joke. That's true. Einstein was an excellent violinist, and Planck was a semi-professional pianist. Little Sheldon's eyes lit up. Keyboardist, I can try. He loves science, so he naturally knows these scientific giants very well. He used to focus only on their scientific achievements, but now that Adam has fooled him, he is very willing to get closer to the living habits of scientific giants. You know, in the future, in order to meet Professor Hawking, he will be instigated and teased by Howard in various ways, and even wear a super shameful maid outfit in public at school. It can be seen that in order to get closer to the scientific giant in his mind, what price can he pay? It's better to act than to be moved. Adam was very active and suggested, "Why don't we go to my house now? There are band instruments there. Let Sheldon try it, Mrs. Cooper." Now, Mary was a little entangled. She originally wanted to wait for her husband to come back in the evening to discuss it together, but she couldn't stand the enthusiasm of the ordinary Adam. In addition, her son was obviously persuaded, and she didn't want to dampen her son's enthusiasm to get out of loneliness. "Okay, I want to go too." At this time, a beautiful little girl jumped out. "Missy," Mary scolded subconsciously, but then she thought that she couldn't leave Missy alone at home after they left, so she had to look at Adam. "Is this Sheldon's sister?" Adam smiled and said, "Of course you are welcome to come over." "Great." Missy was overjoyed. Duncan's house. What a cute little girl. Mary was about to melt when she saw Charlie, causing Missy to roll her eyes and whispered, "Am I not cute? I don't see you care about me so much. I'm not your biological child." "Missy." Mary was a little embarrassed and realized that she didn't pay enough attention to her daughter, but this thought was only a flash. Her focus was always on Sheldon, and when she saw the Duncan family like this, her resistance to Adam and his rock music instantly dissipated. Such a loving family is simply a family blessed by God. How could there be any problem for her baby to be in contact with them? God bless. Mary and Missy stayed in the living room, chatting with Ted, while Adam took Sheldon to the basement, where Emmett stood with an unhappy look on his face. "Sheldon, this is Emmett Williams, the drummer and backing vocalist of our Hard Candy band." Adam introduced the two of them. "Emmett, this is Sheldon Cooper. If nothing goes wrong, he will be our keyboard player." "Hello." Sheldon stood there straight and greeted him. Emmett stood there with his arms folded across his chest, snorting. "That would be great if nothing goes wrong, poor kid." Adam looked at him with pity, too lazy to explain, and led Sheldon to the electronic keyboard, played a simple song, and then stood up to give him a seat. "Sheldon, would you like to try?" "Okay." Sheldon sat down, tilted his head and thought for a while. "The electronic keyboard is very simple. Just repeat what I did just now," Adam reminded. "Don't be ridiculous." Emmett sneered. "You asked a kid who has never played an electronic keyboard, or even an instrument, to repeat your movements, and you still say it's easy?" Before he finished speaking, a fluent piano sound was heard. Little Sheldon was a little unfamiliar at first, but after a few times, he was very proficient and the tune was not wrong at all. "Impossible!" Emmett shouted. This must not be his first time playing the piano. This is really his first time playing the piano. Juno looked at little Sheldon, then at Adam, and exclaimed, "Sheldon is such a genius." "Impossible, impossible." Emmett shook his head violently and said in disbelief, "How is this possible? You don't understand the world of geniuses." Adam laughed. "Emmett, imagine if you had absolute pitch and photographic memory. Wouldn't it be easy to understand? Is the electronic keyboard difficult? It's just a mechanical repetition. Emmett was stunned and speechless. In fact, he already believed it in his heart, because this song is an entry-level song. If it is not the first time for Sheldon to play the piano, then Sheldon must have been exposed to this song before. Adam is not a professional keyboard player, so there are actually problems in the process of playing. But Sheldon repeated it exactly the same as Adam. Even the parts with problems in the tune are the same. So there is only one truth. Sheldon is a genius who has good grades and can play rock and roll, just like Juno. Looking at Adam and Juno standing side by side on the left and right of Sheldon, Emmett suddenly had an ominous premonition in his heart. Chapter 14. Don't stop me. I'm going to beat him to death. Cooper's house. Night. Mary and the other two said goodbye and left. Seeing that little Sheldon had such talent, everyone except Emmett was very satisfied. The four-member Hard Candy band finally got rid of the amateur level and entered the amateur level. Early in the morning, Adam lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling. his eyes full of expectation. Ding. Wisdom plus 0.005. Ding. Wisdom plus 0.005. Haha. It's true. Adam couldn't help but be ecstatic. He instantly felt that little Sheldon was much cuter. The other party was a little bit of a bear, but he added 5 points of wisdom as soon as he came, and then added 0.005 points every day. Don't underestimate this 0.005. If you convert it, it can add 1.825 points of wisdom to Adam in a year. This is just one person, plus Juno. It's 3.65 points. At the beginning, his wisdom points were 108, and now they are 114.015. Even if he can't find a new growth point, with the help of Sheldon and Juno, his wisdom will break through 120 in a year and a half, and enter the excellent level. In 7 years, it will break through 140 and become a true genius. He is just about to enter the 9th grade of high school. According to the normal trajectory, he will not graduate from college in 7 years. In other words, before taking the medical school entrance examination, he can take the examination as a genius. Combined with his super endurance of 300, even if the medical school courses are extremely complicated, he is still confident that he will be the best one. After that, it is a gorgeous transformation from a genius intern to a genius doctor. When he becomes a genius doctor, he can learn from a handsome doctor, take the operating room as his home, perform surgery day and night, and save the dying and the wounded. One operation is 0.01 points of life. Doing 10 operations a day is 0.1 points of life, which is 36.5 points a year. Working for 2 years will make you 100 years old, and then you can just surf the waves. This is still a very conservative calculation. Adam has roughly understood the law of wisdom point growth. It is indeed the accumulation of time. The reason why the genius classmate of Duke did not work before was not because he was a man, but because he was just an unknown extra. Extras have no human rights, but it doesn't matter. There are many geniuses with names. For example, in the future Big Bang Theory, there are 5 geniuses besides Sheldon. How much wisdom can they provide him? Of course, he can't contact them for the time being, because except for vaguely knowing that Leonard's mother has published a book based on Leonard, he has no impression of other people's information. But it doesn't matter, because this world is not only the genius group of the Big Bang Theory, but also many individual geniuses like Juno with names. He will meet them eventually. He doesn't need many. Even if he meets one more, his dream of surfing the waves will be greatly advanced. Ha ha ha. Adam could no longer suppress the joy in his heart. What happened? Dad Bob rubbed his eyes and walked down. Nothing. I just dreamed of getting promoted and getting a raise, marrying a beautiful, rich woman, and reaching the pinnacle of life. I couldn't help laughing and woke up. Adam said nonsense seriously. Son, wake up, Bob complained speechlessly. Don't think about good things. Your dad also had this dream in the past, but look at me now. Be more realistic and set a small goal first. That's right. Adam looked at Bob's bald and fat middle-aged American man and was secretly alert. Although doctors in white coats are the dream lovers of many girls, once they become bald men with big bellies, even the most beautiful dreams will be shattered in an instant. If they meet a more aggressive female man, they may be beaten up, which is terrible. In the following days, Sheldon Jr. successfully integrated into the Hard Candy Band. The 4 of them rehearsed classic rock music. Even Emmett changed his attitude. Because of Sheldon Jr., a genius keyboard player, and Juno, a bassist, the performance of the Hard Candy Band was much better than the previous PGA and the Dynamic Band. Music is very contagious, and good cooperation can multiply this contagiousness. As a rock fan, Emmett naturally couldn't resist this feeling. In addition to playing rock music, Adam also asked Sheldon about his study problems. As a super genius, Sheldon could easily guide Adam's any problem, and the learning effect was excellent. Juno couldn't help but sigh and said, I was a little skeptical about your intentions before, but now it seems that you really want to learn. Time passed quickly in this fulfillment and happiness. In a blink of an eye, the summer vacation was over, and the high school career officially began. To everyone at the school gate, Adam, Juno, please help me take care of Shelley. He is still too young," Mary asked with some concern. "Don't worry, Mrs. Cooper." Adam looked at Sheldon fiddling with the bow tie on his neck and responded with a lack of confidence. "Bullying in American schools is very serious, and a fashionable genius like Sheldon is simply a torch, firmly attracting everyone's attention. Fortunately, Sheldon is too young, and the bullies don't have the interest to take photos. Secondly, Sheldon's father is the school's football coach, and his brother is a football player. Most of the bullies come from the football team, so Sheldon's life will not be as miserable as his future good friend Leonard. Leonard's life is really sad and tearful. Even Sheldon's father came over to bully him. It's really no one dares to be more miserable than him." Classroom. "Hello, students. I am Mark Elroy. I will be your class teacher and also the English teacher of some of you." On the podium, a middle-aged female teacher was introducing herself. Although American education is based on the credit system and the mobile class system, there is no fixed classroom or fixed classmates, but there is also a class teacher. The class teacher is responsible for guiding students' learning plans and assuming the responsibility of connecting the school with students and parents. After all, the teachers of the mobile class system are mainly responsible for teaching, and miscellaneous tasks outside of teaching still need to be done by someone. I have been in this school for more than 20 years, and I have some experience, but today I was still eye-opening. I think everyone should know that we have a new student here, who is young but gifted. At this point, everyone looked at little Sheldon. Generally, the 9th graders in the first year of high school are basically 14 or 15 years old. Little Sheldon's 9 years old is too dazzling, not to mention that little Sheldon raised his hand. "Sheldon, please speak." Teacher Mark Elroy's friendly smile did not last for a few seconds before it was broken by little Sheldon's straightforwardness. "According to the student dress and etiquette regulations, that boy's hair is too long, this boy is wearing sportswear outside the prescribed range, and this girl's top is too transparent, which means I can see the unspeakable inside." Little Sheldon turned around and pointed out one by one, and finally looked at the female teacher seriously. "And you also violated the appearance regulations on page 48, Chapter 5, Paragraph B. You have a little beard." Adam, Juno, Emmett, and little George, who had been shrinking in the last row for fear that others would find out that he was little Sheldon's brother, all held their foreheads. This naughty kid is so damn honest. The kindness that the head teacher had shown to little Sheldon disappeared instantly. "Damn the genius boy, damn the child of a colleague." The female teacher covered her mouth and wanted to beat little Sheldon to death. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15 Trouble is Coming. County High School. 3 p.m. The last science class is over. Science teacher Givens glared at little Sheldon and left angrily. "Sheldon, how do you feel?" Adam and the other two came over and asked jokingly. "Feeling?" Little Sheldon tilted his head and thought for a while. "Great. This is the happiest class I have taken in these years." Science classes in American high schools involve subjects such as physics, chemistry, biology, and geography. The teaching goal is to enable students to master general concepts and principles in the field of science, correctly apply scientific methods, and solve various problems. It is conceivable that little Sheldon, who is a science supremacist, loves this class. Teacher Givens definitely has the opposite feeling about this. Adam teased. "Absolutely." Juno smiled in agreement. "I think if Sheldon was not too young, Teacher Givens would definitely take action. He is really having a hard time enduring it." "Why?" Little Sheldon frowned in confusion. "You really don't know?" Emmett complained. "In the few classes we had today, all the teachers were the same as Mr. Givens." "Sheldon, you are really good at offending people. Amazing." "All the teachers?" Little Sheldon was even more confused. "Well, let's do the math." Adam pointed out. "In English class, you said that Miss Mark Elroy had a mustache that was not shaved cleanly. In math class, you questioned Mr. Ringram's diploma." Juno continued. "The most amazing thing is science class," Emmett said. "Funny, You first questioned Mr. Givens for violating hygiene regulations and having a strange smell, and then said that your wisdom threatened him and proposed that you lead him. Wow, Sheldon, you are really something. Am I wrong? Little Sheldon was still puzzled. Adam and the other two were stunned. Although Sheldon is so straightforward that it makes people speechless, he is not so irritated when he speaks. The problems he points out are real. The level of public high school teachers is very ordinary. For Sheldon, a super genius and a straightforward boy, it is really hard to stand it. Since I am not wrong, why can't I say it? Sheldon said confidently. This is the United States. We have all the rights to freedom. Ha ha ha. Adam and the other two looked at each other and laughed together. They still haven't suffered the beating of society. They don't know that the so-called freedom of all people is only the freedom of a few people. Even if Sheldon is a super genius and a future Nobel Prize physicist, he is not one of these few people, because he doesn't have the money ability of Iron Man and Batman. Oh, trouble is coming. In the classroom, when the fruit hard candy four were laughing, the door was suddenly pushed open heavily, and a group of people walked in arrogantly. When Emmett saw them, his neck shrank. Adam Duncan, Cash Goodman. Adam recognized the ruffian boy in the lead, who was another famous rocker in the county high school, and was followed by the members of the other band, Emotion. As the saying goes, peers are enemies. The Emotion band has always suppressed the PGA and Dynamic band, but because Adam's mediocreness far exceeds Cash, Adam has always suppressed Cash in the ranking of romantic wanderers, which can be seen from the choice of his ex-girlfriend, Magical Amy. Cash's dissatisfaction can be imagined, and there have been constant conflicts. After Adam traveled through time and recognized the identity of Magical Amy, he did not dare to change his girlfriend at will, and developed towards the direction of a good student, and the conflicts gradually decreased. Is there anything wrong? Adam's eyes drifted from the girls around Cash, and he had already understood most of it in his heart, and smiled helplessly. Is this little bastard your friend? Cash hugged the girl, glanced at little Sheldon, and said arrogantly, he is so brave that he dared to humiliate my girlfriend in public. Aren't you going to give me an explanation? Forget it. The girl who was dressed in a non-mainstream way frowned. He is still a child. She was the girl who was pointed out by little Sheldon that her top was too thin and transparent in public in the first class. Shut up, Cash scolded. Is this a matter between you and him? This is a matter of my face. At this point, he glanced at Juno and shook his flowing long hair coolly. Juno smiled at Adam, and Adam's mouth twitched. Both of them understood what was going on. In the original time and space, there was no such thing at all. As the non-mainstream girl said, little Sheldon was still a child. She didn't care about the embarrassment brought by little Sheldon's straightforwardness at all, so naturally there was no follow-up. But in this time and space, because Adam and Sheldon are close, when Cash heard about it, Cash had to stand up for his girlfriend, and he didn't find Sheldon, but Adam. First of all, Cash was very unhappy with Adam. Secondly, seeing that Adam has been close to Juno recently, this unhappiness has once again surged. Don't look at Juno as weird in the eyes of others. With almost no friends, and many boys often ridicule her in person, but that is the surface phenomenon. Secretly, the situation is that many boys have a crush on Juno. Yes, it is a crush. Appearance is justice. If it weren't for Juno's constantly seeing a psychologist, 4 out of 5 psychologists said she had problems. The girls' group led by the cheerleading team would collectively boycott Juno, believing that those who fall in love with Juno are men without taste, and a ruffian like Cash would have pursued Juno long ago. For a tree like Juno, no prodigal would give up a forest like the cheerleading team. It's one thing not to do it, but when Cash sees other men, especially his enemies, getting close to Juno, it's another thing to explode his mentality. It just so happens that his girlfriend was bullied by Adam's team, so Cash came to her house immediately. What do you want? Adam said disdainfully. Beat up little Sheldon? What? Little Sheldon immediately shrank behind Adam. He was a warrior who could run up a tree when chased by a chicken, and was thankful that the chicken couldn't climb a tree. He was deeply uncomfortable with all the violence against him. Why should I beat him? Cash sneered. He is your man, so you are naturally responsible. The weekend is the homecoming party. At that time, We will each go on stage and compete in front of all the teachers and students in the school. The loser will take off his clothes and run around the school 10 laps. Do you dare?" "Damn!" Adam immediately burst into swear words. This bastard is really vicious. Not to mention that he has no confidence. Even if he is sure of winning, he is unwilling to accept this kind of competition. If he loses, it will be embarrassing whether he runs or not. "Let's compete." "Who's afraid of who?" Before Adam could say no, a confident voice sounded beside him. Adam looked over in disbelief. Chapter 16 You are a one-in-a-million genius. County High School, Juno. Adam looked at Juno in disbelief. "I believe in you," Juno encouraged. "At worst, I'll run with you." "Okay." Cash's eyes lit up when he heard it, as expected of Juno McGough. She's full of courage. "Adam, you won't be afraid, will you?" "Don't dare." Adam's face was grim, but under Juno's constant winks, he also wanted to save face, so he could only say with a dark face, "Why shouldn't I be afraid?" Then it's settled. Cash couldn't wait to say it, and left with a loud laugh. Then there was a noise about the game in the corridor, and it was obvious that Cash was not going to give Adam a chance to regret. "Juno, what are you doing?" When only the hard candy group was left, Adam couldn't help it anymore and shouted at Juno, "Why did you agree? This is naked running." "What's the matter?" Juno said indifferently. "As long as we win the game, it will be fine." "Win?" Adam said coldly. Although Cash is annoying, his musical talent is obviously better than ours, not to mention the skills of playing classic rock. He can also create original songs. "How can we win?" "We can also create original songs." Juno smiled and said, "Adam, you are actually very talented. I discovered before that some of the melody fragments you often play are great. As long as you integrate them carefully, you can not only beat Cash and win the game, but also become famous with one song." That was just an unintentional inspiration, not a system at all. Adam's face eased a little, and he smiled bitterly and shook his head. He finally understood the source of Juno's confidence. As a time traveler, even if he is not a music lover, in the era of big data, he can always be exposed to some classic music, including classic rock. As his wisdom points increased, Adam's memories of his previous life gradually became clearer. When he played rock music with a hard candy band, these melodies would pop up from time to time. And the rock music that can still reach the ears of passers-by like Adam decades later is undoubtedly the top 10 works in the history of rock music. Therefore, even if it is just a fragment of the melody, it is enough to amaze Juno and make her misunderstand that Adam has a peerless talent. "That's because you didn't have the motivation before." Juno smiled and said, "Now is an opportunity. As long as you can put together a song, it will definitely beat that Cash and then sweep the entire campus. Be famous as soon as possible. Once you succeed, you will get the leadership bonus you expect." "But what if you lose?" Adam was a little tempted, but still a little hesitant. After all, he is not a real American boy and has a huge psychological barrier to running naked. "If you lose, you lose," Juno said indifferently. "If Cash loses, do you think he will run naked?" "No." Adam was a little unsure. In his memory, Americans are very good at playing. Isn't it a basic operation to run naked when there is a disagreement? "Please." Juno rolled her eyes. "This is just a gimmick to expand her fame, except for crazy people, who has nothing to do but run around naked, then find an excuse to turn it down, or just shamelessly ignore it. Are you afraid of what people say?" Having said that, she gave Adam a small look. "Besides, so what even if I let you run around naked? There are so many people you have seen in school, a few more won't make a difference." Hee. "Stop talking nonsense." Adam was immediately embarrassed. This was all the fault of his predecessor, but after talking about this, Adam also breathed a sigh of relief, thinking, "Yeah, just like those people in the previous life who always live-streamed eating shit. There is no fool who really eats shit, it's just a gimmick." "Hurry up. The weekend is only a few days away," Juno reminded. "Don't think that you don't care if you don't really run naked. It will be embarrassing if you regret it. By then, even if you are handsome, you won't be able to pick up many girls." Adam was speechless, but Juno's words made sense, especially the last two sentences. Adam's heart was lifted again. While walking home with Juno and the other two, he racked his brains to recall the memories of his previous life. As long as he can remember a song completely, he will have a 100% chance of winning the game. He is not worried about not being able to pick up girls. Since he and Juno started playing together, the girls who originally wanted to give him a warm hug to comfort him because amazing Amy dumped him, all stopped and looked at each other. Of course, he thinks this is also good, just in time to spend time on studying, and he is not the kind of person who has no humanity when it comes to the opposite sex. Between the friendship of Juno and the plain and boring daily life of his predecessor, he would choose friendship without hesitation. He is such a principled man. Time soon came to the weekend, and one of the countless parties with American characteristics, the homecoming party, was about to begin. On this day, students all dressed up, and those who could invite female companions invited female companions. The school also invited many well-known alumni to celebrate together. After inquiring from the principal in advance about the invitation list and not seeing his ex-girlfriend amazing Amy on it, Adam relaxed completely. Today will be a new turning point in his life. He doesn't want to wait for an ex-girlfriend who asks for reconciliation. He has been a drama queen for a long time. Let's invite the emotional band. They have brought an original rock song, Paradise of Love. The host said some cliches as usual, and introduced the betting competition between the Fruit Hard Candy Band and the Emotional Band, which caused the audience to howl, and then dragged his voice to signal Cash and others to go on stage first. The curtain on the stage opened, and the drummer, keyboardist, and bassist of the band Emotion were already in place. The band's sole lead guitarist and singer Cash came out with his guitar on his back. Wow! Cash! Immediately, whistles and applause resounded throughout the auditorium. In this age of entertainment to death, in a remote town, students' love for rock bands is unparalleled. Especially this rock band can be original, no matter whether the original works or not. Even ordinary pop songs can drive students crazy. Under this light, Cash, the lead singer who was originally a little handsome, instantly exploded in the eyes of the girls, and his sharp shouts directly overwhelmed the boys. This is rock and roll. Emmett looked at the crazy look of the girls dressed up in the audience, and he was excited. When he looked at Ivy, the female companion invited by Duncan, because he didn't want to be alone and lose face, he was not so attractive. Damn it, why would I choose her? I should have known this would happen. When we go on stage, the girls will definitely be even crazier than they are now with our songs. Will I still be short of pretty female companions? It's your turn. Amid the screams, Cash opened his arms like the king of the world, and then pointed at Adam, his confidence and pride evident in his words. Now, let's welcome the Hard Candy Band. Chapter 17. The School Full of Red Sleeves. County High School. Auditorium. Backstage. 5 minutes ago. Sheldon, are you sure you don't have to stay backstage? Adam confirmed again and again. You can still play the piano if you stay backstage. It's just a curtain anyway, and the sound is almost unobstructed. No need. Little Sheldon asked in confusion. Why should I stay backstage? Yes, why? Emmett was puzzled. Are you worried that Sheldon might be stage fright? Juno rolled her eyes and guessed the answer. Well, it's not a possibility. Adam smiled bitterly. It's a certainty. Sheldon has panic disorder. If he really goes on stage, there are only two results. One is that he turns around and runs, and the other is that his legs are weak and he can't run and faints on the stage. Hey, how do you know I have panic disorder? Little Sheldon asked in surprise. I know too many of your weird things. Complaining in his heart, Adam said, I heard from Mrs. Cooper. Are you sure you want to go on stage? How about you take a sneak peek at the stage from behind the curtain? In fact, Adam also hoped that Sheldon could go on stage. After all, there is still a big difference between the effect on stage and behind the stage. But he knew Sheldon's character. Although he was sure of it now, if he really went on stage, there would be only two results, as Adam said just now. This was one of the troubles that Adam had never thought of when he invited Sheldon. Well, that's fine. Sheldon tilted his head and thought about it. He thought it was a good idea, so he walked to the curtain and gently pulled it open. Cash was singing on the stage, and the students in the audience were screaming, boom, 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 boom. Sheldon's eyes shrank, and everything in front of him began to become unreal. His heart beat rapidly. His breathing was rapid, and then there was nothing else. Adam, you're right. I'd better stay backstage. Sheldon pulled the curtain closed. His body was a little weak, and he walked to Adam and the other two in the daze, saying that it was really fragrant. Juno, Emmett. Adam gave Juno a look that said I'll tell you, nodded and smiled. Relax, take a deep breath. If you really feel uncomfortable, it's okay not to participate this time. You can take your time in the future. After all, he is not a professional, and the lack of a keyboard player doesn't really have much impact. Little Sheldon took a few deep breaths, and his panic disorder subsided a lot. He shook his head and said, I can do it. Then he quickly added, backstage. Okay, let's arrange it this way. Adam saw that Cash and the others were about to finish, so he stopped talking and made a decision directly. He moved little Sheldon's electronic keyboard to a suitable location, and then heard the host's call. Now let's invite the Hard Candy Band to perform their, semi-original work, Don't Cry. Tell me softly, your eyes hold 1,000 words, don't be depressed because of sadness, please don't cry. Adam walked onto the stage playing the guitar with a soft tune. Under the spotlight, his ordinary face was shining, and the soft whispers in his mouth, under the blessing of this face, were really like the whispers of lovers in each other's ears. No one in the audience screamed wildly, but Cash, who was standing on the edge of the stage, had a dark face, because most of the girls in his sight were either covering their chests or their mouths, and the temperature in their eyes was enough to burn everything. If he knew a proverb from the East, he would say, silence is better than words at this time. The temporary tranquility is just a sign before the storm. Don't cry tonight. I still love you, baby. Don't cry tonight. Heaven is right above you. Don't cry tonight. I thought I was living in your world. Sure enough, when the second half of the copy part came, the mood suddenly changed and became high-pitched and passionate, and the whole audience exploded. Not only the girls, but also the boys and parents were involved in the emotions, following the rhythm and began to scream to their heart's content. Who doesn't have the impulse to be crazy about love? The center of gravity of the entire auditorium moved with Adam's footsteps. The members of the emotional band looked at the scene that seemed like a superstar concert, and they were all stunned. This seems to be a song by Guns N' Roses, a team member murmured, but the chorus is very different. I feel like this is better than the one sung by Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses, or Guns Flowers, was founded a few years ago in 1985, but since the release of their first album in 1987, they have become the hottest rock band at the moment, and countless young people are obsessed with them. This song Don't Cry was a song that Guns N' Roses sang in a bar when they first debuted. They haven't released an album yet, and it hasn't been officially circulated. Except for the most senior rock fans, no one knows about it. The members of the emotional band happen to be the most senior rock fans, but because they know it, they are more shocked than the audience, and the audience, they are just high school students who are just playing around. It turns out that someone can adapt the song of the king of rock and roll, and adapt it so well, and they are also rivals in the competition. Oh my God, what did they do? Adam sang with abandon, and his peripheral vision swept over the dumbfounded emotional band, and a smile flashed across his eyes. It turned out that the time traveler was more comfortable as a plagiarist. He had no idea that this song would dominate the top 10 classic rock songs in the world for many years, nor did he know the influence of this song in the United States, but he knew that he didn't have to run naked. Moreover, looking at the crazy faces of the people in the audience, Adam's heart trembled, and he secretly said to himself, this is the United States. Boys must protect themselves outside. Cash, what should we do? Looking at the Fruit Hard Candy Band on the stage being shouted over and over by the audience, the members of the emotional band finally came to their senses and looked at the leader worriedly. Strip or not? Strip. Cash was silent for a long time, then gritted his teeth. Really, take it off, the members exclaimed. Really, strip? Cash gritted his teeth and said, tonight's scene is destined to make a sensation in the rock world. Unless we don't play rock anymore, we must strip. There's nothing wrong with running naked. It's the same as rock. It's art. But breaking one's word is obviously not art. So, we really strip. Oh tilde. The members of the emotional band wailed. After the party, while it was dark, Cash led the members of the emotional band to run naked for 10 laps amid the laughter of the crowd. Adam and others were relieved and had to admire their courage. The wolf is destroyed. The city will have fun. The next day. Hi, Adam. Hi, Adam. Hi, Adam. As soon as Adam walked into the school gate, he immediately felt different. Wherever he went, girls in groups of 3 or 2 stood there, pointing at him. There was enthusiasm and charm in their eyes, but also shy avoidance. From time to time, there were also sounds of laughter and playfulness. For a while, it was really like riding a bicycle on the sidewalk, and the whole school was waving red sleeves. Chapter 18. Give me money? County High School. We are famous, totally famous, Emmett said excitedly out of nowhere. Really? Adam smiled and didn't really care. Hey, why aren't you excited? Emmett danced for a while, and was a little unhappy to see Adam was so indifferent, which made him look ignorant. What's so exciting? Adam said with a smile as he walked towards the classroom. Besides letting off some steam yesterday, what else should I be excited about? Are you kidding? Emmett's unique rap tone came out again. Did you see how popular we are today? Those girls are going crazy for us, as long as we make a pinky promise. They. At this point, Adam stopped looking at him with a smile, was slightly stunned, and then reacted, and said with a dark face, "Don't pretend. I know you didn't lack girls pursuing you before, but now there are definitely more and crazier girls than before. Do you dare to deny it?" "I don't deny it." Adam nodded and smiled, "but I actually have face blindness. Girls' appearances don't make much difference to me, and I never care about these things." Emmett couldn't listen anymore and raised his middle finger. What a pity. It would be great if this song was completely original. The two teased each other for a few more sentences, and Emmett smacked his lips and said, "In that case, with the quality of this song, you might be able to release a single directly, and then gain fame and fortune, and you won't have to worry about your life." Alas, Adam also sighed. In his previous life, he was not a music fan. He racked his brains and could only recall this song. Who knew it was adapted from someone else's song? He was not the original author, so he had no share in the copyright. In the United States, copyright protection is very strict, which is a great boost to original creators. Often, some small singers can earn enough money to be financially independent with 1 or 2 songs. Adam, who renovated and adapted other people's songs without the consent of the original author, may be fine for amateur fun, but if he wants to rely on this for commercial operation, the original author will definitely sue him. Besides, he can't focus on this, so he just thinks about it. Maybe when his wisdom points are raised to a certain level, he can recall all the details of his life like the male protagonist in Endless who spent NZT48, but at that time, he doesn't need to make money by singing. Hi, Adam. Another person suddenly appeared and blocked Adam's way, which scared Adam. Hi. Adam was about to get angry, but when he looked up, he saw that the person blocking him was a girl who looked righteous. His face softened and he smiled brightly. "My name is Gretchen." The girl should be a mixed race Latino, with a beautiful face, curly hair and a very fashionable look. She looked at Adam with a bold and fiery look. "Are you free tonight?" "Huh?" Adam was shocked. It's not that no girl has taken the initiative to ask him out before, but never so proactive. "Today is my birthday. My family is going to celebrate my birthday and prepare a party." Gretchen stared at Adam. "I want to invite you." Ahem. Emmett couldn't help coughing. Your band. Can you go over and play?" Gretchen immediately changed her words, which made Emmett very satisfied. "Of course I would. Will you pay?" Adam asked subconsciously. Emmett opened his eyes wide and looked at Adam in disbelief, as if saying, "A beauty of this level sends a party invitation, and you can't even beg for it, and you actually ask her for money? How did a straight man like you who is destined to be alone get girls in the past?" But the next scene surprised Emmett. Of course, Gretchen was also stunned, and then the smile in her eyes became even stronger. "I guarantee you will be satisfied as the only daughter of one of the richest families in the area. Money means nothing to her, and anything that can be solved with money is not a problem. I'll discuss it with the team members." Adam was moved, but did not agree directly. "Okay," Gretchen smiled ambiguously, "as long as you are willing to come. You don't need accompaniment. After that, she walked away charmingly with the model's steps under Emmett's drooling eyes. I will definitely go, Emmett said anxiously. Yeah, Adam nodded. Emmett's emotions calmed down a little, looking at the calm Adam, and said sourly, what are you thinking? Give money? You can't say it. You don't care about money? Adam looked at Emmett in surprise. The other party didn't look like an alien, so why didn't he have a concept of money? Then I won't give you a share. No, Emmett protested immediately. We are a team. Of course we share everything. Then why are you so entangled? Adam complained. Money, isn't it good? The Duncan family can barely be considered middle class in terms of income, but because they are a warrior family that only has 4 children in their lifetime, on average, their living standard cannot reach the middle class. If the fate of the original Time and Space is followed, the income and expenditure of the Duncan family are still balanced. But now the Ivy League schools that Adam is trying hard to get into are all top private schools. Private schools are good, but they all have a disadvantage. One word: too damn expensive. Not to mention the medical school you have to go to after graduating from college. That is really the school gate opens to money. If you have talent but no money, don't come in. Many graduates wait to work for a few years before taking the medical school exam. In addition to the difficulty of admission, the lack of money and the need to work and save money are also important factors. Duncan's family conditions are definitely not affordable. Adam naturally would not put all the burden on the Duncan family, so he had the idea of making money long ago, but there were still 4 years before going to college, so the task of making money was not very urgent. Now that there is a chance to make money, even if it is pocket money, he will not give up. Wait until next year to get a driver's license and save some gas money. Want to drive without money and gas? As for whether it will make the beauty look down on him, it's a joke. He doesn't want her body. Who cares? After Juno and little Sheldon came, Adam told them about the matter. Gretchen Venus? Juno's mouth rose a little arc. Okay. Adam frowned, only thinking that Juno's smile was a little weird, but for a moment he couldn't figure out what was weird. Sheldon, what about you? Party? No, thank you. Little Sheldon shook his head again and again. He even had to wear gloves to shake hands with his family, let alone go to a crowded party with sweat and spit flying all over the sky. Okay. Seeing this, Adam didn't force it, as long as it didn't affect the daily provision of 0.005 wisdom points. Sheldon's personality has never changed in his life, and Adam doesn't expect him to change. Besides, is Sheldon still Sheldon after the change? P.S. Thanks to Tilda for the reward. Chapter 19. Who do you take me for? At night, Gretchen's house. This is a real villa. It takes a while to drive from the entrance to the fountain square at the door. The tall gate pillars stand tall and the marble floor is paved, showing luxury. In the bright lights, uniformed staff members are busy in an orderly manner. These people are employees of a special party company, responsible for preparing and organizing this birthday party. As the host and the guest, you only need to dress handsomely and beautifully. Damn. Emmett, who could only sneak in with Adam, couldn't help but sigh when he saw this scene. Sir, an invitation? The waiter in charge of welcoming guests politely stopped Adam and the other two. Emmett curled his lips, but when he glanced at the uniformed security guard, his body trembled and he swallowed the complaints that were about to come out of his mouth. There is no way. He is afraid. This is the same as Rajesh in the future Big Bang Theory. You know, Rajesh's family is known as the Indian version of Iron Man's family, super rich, but when the American staff came to the door, not to find him, he was almost scared, shouting "I love the United States," madly despising his motherland, and showing all kinds of ugly behaviors. Of course, this is an exaggeration in movies and TV shows, but art comes from life, and there is naturally a real basis for foreigners like Rajesh to be afraid. In this social atmosphere, Emmett, who has always been timid, was trembling when he saw the security guards. It's really no joke. It's funny to see compatriots carrying coffins, but it's scary to be carried. This way, please. The waiter took Adam's invitation and looked at it. His eyes stayed on Emmett for a while, then smiled and let Adam and the other two in. Mr. Duncan, Miss Venus invites you to go up. Another waiter came to pass on the message. and seeing Emmett following, he quickly added, "Alone, you go and get ready first. I'll be here in a while." Adam smiled and nodded to Juno and Emmett, and followed the new waiter upstairs. As the protagonist of the birthday party, Gretchen Venus must be the last to appear. She was still putting on makeup upstairs at this time, in order to make a stunning appearance later. This process started in the afternoon. "Adam, you are here in the luxurious boudoir." Gretchen, who was being dressed by a professional stylist in front of the floor-length mirror, looked over happily. A dress specially customized by a famous designer showed Gretchen's devilish figure to the fullest. Her shoulders were slightly exposed and her eyes were charming. Of course, spare tires and second children did not exist at all. Adam showed appreciation and respect. After a long time, the party finally started. Adam went downstairs to meet Juno and played Don't Cry Live, which caused a sensation again, but he knew in his heart that this was it. Soon this song would spread throughout the rock world, and by then there would definitely be a lot of professional rock bands playing this song continuously. The Hard Candy Band was just an amateur band, and it was definitely not as good as those professional bands. Besides, no matter how good the music was, it would become ordinary after listening to it too much. At this moment, it was definitely the highlight moment of the Hard Candy Band. There is money to be made and there is something to play with. That's enough. After all, they are still high school students, and they all have curfews given by their parents. Adam and Juno dragged Emmett away reluctantly. Emmett is 1 year older than Adam and has already got his driver's license. This time he was the one driving. In the car, Emmett couldn't help gossiping. "Adam, what did you do for so long?" "Nothing," Adam replied lazily. "I don't know what happened tonight. I suddenly felt a little tired, and I don't know if it was caused by too much pressure recently." Fame is a double-edged sword. While it is glorious, it also has heavy pressure. Haha. Juno smiled beside him. "How much did Venus give you?" "Guess." Adam was shocked and smiled. 100. Emmett was also excited. He got his driver's license and urgently needed gas money, otherwise he would have no way to drive the car. "Still 100 per person." "Guess again." 200 per person. Seeing Adam still smiling without saying anything, Emmett stepped on the brake and asked excitedly, "How much is it?" 3,000. Adam took out a stack of Franklins from his pocket. "Holy shit." Emmett's eyes widened, and he screamed, reaching out to take the money. After getting it, he looked left and right, muttering, "Is this fake money?" 3,000 yuan. "Even if it is fake money, I will accept it. I can always spend some of it." No, I can't do this. If the police find out, I will suffocate." Even Juno was a little surprised, blurting out, "It seems that Gretchen is really satisfied with you." In this era, the average monthly income of the American people is only about 3,000 yuan. For high school students, 3,000 yuan is definitely a lot of money. "You know, they just sang a few songs. Who do you think I am?" Adam frowned and said, "She invited our Hard Candy Band, and the money she paid was also for our hard candy, not for me alone." "And you think 3,000 yuan is a lot for her? Our Don't Cry was just released last night. Isn't it worth the price?" "It's worth it. Of course it's worth it." Emmett counted the money happily and agreed repeatedly. "Don't get excited." Juno rolled his eyes at Adam. Adam also found that he overreacted, and added awkwardly, I'm really not that kind of person. We are innocent." "Well, I believe you." Juno nodded seriously. "But why?" Adam was speechless. "Why? Isn't Gretchen hot?" "Hot? Isn't Gretchen proactive? Proactive. Are you Adam Duncan? Adam was speechless. This logic is really flawless. He is really not the Adam Duncan of the past. What can he say? It's not that he's afraid of anything, but his values have changed. He doesn't want to fall in love, even in name, because this is the bloody United States, and friends in the circle of friends are all about permutation and combination love. For example, the heroine Penny in The Big Bang Theory. Once she broke up, she found a handsome guy to have a 36-hour Penny-style healing. Leonard is her boyfriend, but Leonard's good friends Howard and Rajesh often clamor to take over in person, and even quarrel over who will be the first to take over. Rajesh often fantasizes about his good friend Howard's wife, wrote a very obscene poem, and had a hand in healing Penny. For example, Rachel in Friends, First Ross, then Joey, and finally Ross. Robin in How I Met Your Mother. First Ed, then Barney, and finally Ted. You know, these people hang out together every day and are the best of friends. If it were Adam, he wouldn't be able to stand this kind of chaos, even in name. Lou Barney Joey Ziobo once said, "When you fall in love with a girl, the first priority is to make sure you have more boats under your feet than the other party. Otherwise you will lose too much." Adam agrees with this. In this unfathomable United States, there are many girls like Penny who can easily kill hundreds or even 200 people. To be on the safe side, Adam decided to never fall in love. At least don't fall in love when you are young. In the world, in addition to love, there are many other pure and loving relationships, such as friendship. Ps. I don't recommend any new books. Book friends who have a book list can add it. Chapter 20. What is coming finally comes. In the car, we'll split the money equally. Emmett stroked Franklin, looking intoxicated. After a long while, he looked at Adam tentatively. 1,000 each? Of course. Adam smiled and said, "How else do you want to divide it?" "That's it, I have no objection." Emmett raised his hand quickly and said with a grin, Hey, Adam. It's all thanks to you." His tone and expression were quite mean. "Yeah, it's all thanks to him." Juno also smiled and agreed. Adam's mouth twitched suddenly. He could see the subtext of Emmett and Juno, but he was too lazy to explain. Why should he explain his actions to others? Early morning. Ding. Wisdom plus 0.005. Ding. Wisdom plus 0.005. The wisdom points provided by Juno and Little Sheldon every day arrived on time. Adam was in a good mood and refreshed the system panel. Wisdom, 114.6, normal 100, 120 excellent, 140 genius, 180 super genius, strength, 180, normal 100, 200 strong, 500 super strong, 1000 not human, endurance, 310, normal 100, 200 excellent, 500 just show off, 1000 not human, speed, 160, normal 100, 200 excellent, 500 just show off, 1000 not human, lifespan, 35.04, died young, normal 80, 100 excellent, 150 just show off, 200 not human, others, locked. Hey, how did the endurance attribute increase? There is no system prompt yet. How strange. Adam glanced at the various attributes and his eyes paused on the endurance line. He looked at it carefully for half the night, but still could not figure it out. Fortunately, he was also an open-minded person and finally let it go. Forget it. Let's just forget about the growth law of endurance attribute. There are too many unknowns and mysteries in this world. The most important are wisdom and lifespan. Thinking of this, Adam felt sleepy. His eyelids were heavy, and then he fell asleep. The next day. Why are you smiling like that? Little Sheldon frowned and looked at Emmett, who was smiling. Because I'm happy. Emmett laughed. Sheldon, you really lost out by not going last night. Why? Little Sheldon was puzzled. Forget it, Emmett. Adam interrupted. Do you think Sheldon cares about that little money? In his impression, Sheldon's concept of money has always been enough. What impressed Adam the most was that when Penny was short of money, Sheldon took the initiative to take out the piggy bank and let Penny take it. Not to mention that in the United States, where money is supreme, fathers and sons and husbands and wives cannot talk about money, and AA is popular among friends. Even in the East, people who can take the initiative to lend money to friends are rare. Not to mention, Penny went from being embarrassed to being embarrassed to take more, to finally taking a lot, and Sheldon's expression never changed from beginning to end. This sincerity is even better than a group of rare people. What money? Little Sheldon's eyes lit up. Emmett proudly told Adam what happened last night. What surprised Adam was that Little Sheldon hesitated for a while and said to Adam seriously, I thought about it. Next time there is such an event, I will also participate. Adam was surprised and said, why? For such occasions, Little Sheldon would either be disgusted and at a loss, or turn around and run away or even faint. Adam could hardly imagine what gave Little Sheldon the motivation. I need money. Little Sheldon frowned and said, I owe my dad 200 yuan. I need to make money to pay him back. What did you do? Emmett shouted exaggeratedly. It's all because of my Vulcan hearing. Little Sheldon frowned. Emmett and Juno, how could they know the joke about Vulcan hearing in the American TV series Star Trek? You didn't dismantle your refrigerator, did you? Adam guessed it. Hey, how did you know? Little Sheldon was surprised. Yesterday when I went back, I could still hear the noise from my refrigerator, which made me very irritated. But my parents said they couldn't hear it. I couldn't stand it, so I dismantled the refrigerator according to the instructions. Then you can't put it back, right? Emmett looked at Little Sheldon as if he was a fool. Of course not. Little Sheldon was unconvinced. Since it can be dismantled, it can definitely be reassembled, but I just don't have the right tools for the time being. It's a pity that your father doesn't believe your words, right? Juno couldn't help laughing. Yes, Little Sheldon was depressed. He was very angry and mad at me, so I have to make money to pay him back. There was another thing he didn't say, that is, he was so scared that he cried, which made him who thought he was an adult very ashamed. It's normal. Adam mourned for Sheldon's father. It's you. If it was your brother, he would have been beaten by your father. The refrigerator was there, but you had to tear it down. $200 is enough for your father to drink so many Lone Star beers. Little Sheldon's family of 5, including 2 adults and 3 children, all depend on his father to make money to support the family. Naturally, he has to be frugal. Now that the naughty kid has suddenly wasted $200, it would be strange if his father didn't get angry. This also made Adam strongly skeptical of Sheldon's hands-on ability. Sheldon's theory is invincible. Adam believes it, but he can't even put the small refrigerator back. How can Sheldon make an atomic energy device that is countless times more complicated than a refrigerator? Little Sheldon opened his mouth and sighed after a while. That makes sense. Now I can understand why my father is angry. For the old drinker who can support Lone Star beer by himself, there is nothing that cannot be compared with the amount of Lone Star beer. Lunch break. After dinner, Adam, Juno, and Sheldon went to the library to spend the rest of the time. Emmett left the team as a matter of course. He used to practice hip-hop to show off, but now he is wandering around under the name of Fruit Hard Candy. It's a pity that he is not good-looking enough, and he is not the lead singer, just a drummer. He always leaves when he is excited and returns disappointed, but he enjoys it. Library. Hey, Sheldon, what do you want to read today? Quantum mechanics, liquid rockets, astronomy? The librarian is a fat, older woman who is very familiar with Sheldon. She knows that these advanced science books are Sheldon's favorite. Quantum mechanics is good. Sheldon happily took the book and went to enjoy his happy life. Adam was preparing for his homework. Before his wisdom points reach the genius critical point of 140, he needs to work hard enough to achieve a GPA of 4.0 in each subject. Hiss. Adam couldn't help but take a breath of cold air when he saw Juno taking out a large book from his bag. What's wrong? Juno looked at Adam strangely. Nothing. Nothing. Adam's heart was pounding, and he shook his head repeatedly. He lowered his head to read the book, but he couldn't concentrate. What was supposed to come finally came. Chapter 21. Bloodthirsty Little Red Riding Hood. Library. Any questions? Juno asked casually while looking at the big book. Adam, who had been secretly peeping, smiled awkwardly. Although his reason told him to ignore it, his emotion made him curious. Why are you reading medical books? Interest. Juno raised her head and smiled slightly. Maybe we will all become doctors in the future. We? Adam's mouth twitched. Isn't it? Juno smiled. Isn't your goal to become a doctor in the future? How did you know? Adam was shocked. He had never told anyone about this dream. I guess. Juno blinked. Adam's face darkened and stared at her unkindly. Okay, I'll be honest. Juno tilted her head and smiled. Maybe I'm good at observation. You know, what do I know? Adam wanted to ask, but seeing Juno's meaningful eyes and words, he swallowed the words that were about to come to his mouth. People like her are indeed good at observation and act quite steadily. Before she was ready to chat him up, she must have observed and studied him for a long time. Although he had not told anyone about his future goals, he had checked the target universities, so it was not surprising that she had seen it secretly. Didn't she see that she had started studying medical monographs now? Thinking of this, Adam felt cold in his heart. His rationality completely suppressed his sensibility. He smiled at Juno and lowered his head to look at his textbook again. "Aren't you curious why I am reading this now?" Unfortunately, after he was not interested, Juno became interested and pushed the big medical book in front of Adam. Damn! Adam saw the picture that made him feel annoyed at first glance. It was the step-by-step diagram of the introductory surgery in the Sunflower Manual. "Your interest is really special. This is not an introductory medical book, right? Just take a look." Juno smiled and said, "This is not a sophisticated operation. So many farmers and farms around the world can master this. It's very simple. And don't you think this operation is cool?" "Cool?" Adam felt a chill coming over him. "Yes," Juno said with a smile. "Compared to surviving in the wild or selling cookies, this is the skill that Girl Scouts should learn." "Oh, no, not just Girl Scouts. Boy Scouts are the same. After all, there are many perverts in this society. Boys should also pay attention to protecting themselves when they are outside. The Boy Scouts are a kind of folk organization. Children aged 6 to 20 can participate. It is similar to military training, but different from the short-term and physical training of military training. The Boy Scouts can participate all year round, and there are special people to teach various life skills. The most representative of them is the 2 or 3 children in uniforms in American TV series, holding their homemade cookies and selling them everywhere. Sheldon and Leonard helped Penny to get the TV back from her ex-boyfriend. Before meeting Penny's ex-boyfriend, they were blocked downstairs of the apartment building. When they said fiercely that they would definitely be able to figure out the password with their high IQs of 187 and 173, a group of children easily figured out the password and let Sheldon and Leonard, 2 geniuses, in. In the end, they were stripped of their pants and returned in embarrassment. Those children were the Boy Scouts. "You have to protect yourself." Adam nodded in agreement, but his body unconsciously moved to the side, trying to stay away from Juno. If he hadn't been craving for the wisdom Juno brought him, he would have stayed away long ago. Juno is so awesome, so let her just stand there with her hands on her hips. His world doesn't allow such an awesome person to exist. After class in the afternoon, it marked the end of regular classes, but the various group activities that followed began. Sports such as football and basketball were already in full swing on the playground, and activities such as cheerleading and choir were also gathering in their respective classrooms. Adam and his 4 friends habitually prepared to go to Adam's basement to play in a band. Adam, a radiant devil, stopped the 4 of them. "Hi, Gretchen." Before Adam could speak, Emmett could no longer control the wild power in his body and greeted him in a coquettish manner. "Hi." Gretchen glanced at him, frowned, then looked at Adam, and said perfunctorily to Emmett, then smiled and said, "Go to my place." "Think it through." Adam smiled slightly. "Little Sheldon, Juno, _Emmett, _vertical bar yeah." Gretchen nodded vigorously. Last night, Adam told Gretchen about his views on love, which shocked and upset her. After all, what she valued most was the vanity brought by being the girlfriend of a school rock star. But after a night, her mind changed, and she realized that vanity is not good, and there are many beautiful things in the world. Learning can also make people happy. Later, Adam glanced at Gretchen's sports car parked at the school gate and declined. He didn't want to be regarded as a gigolo, so how could he get into her car in front of the public? "Okay." Gretchen's face froze, but when she saw Adam's ordinary face, her negative emotions disappeared instantly. She smiled ambiguously, got on the sports car, left a message, and left with a roar. "I'll wait for you shit." Emmett looked at the back of the sports car and complained, "Is this what you did? Nothing? Then why did Gretchen invite you over? It can't be tutoring." "Hey, you know?" Adam looked at Emmett in surprise, with an expression of "how can you be so smart and guess it right away?" "Really tutoring?" Emmett was stunned. "Girls like Gretchen care about studying? Don't be kidding." The only daughter of the richest man in the local family has been at the end of most people since she was born. As long as she wants, any prestigious school will open its arms to her. The fact that she can appear in a public high school shows that she is not willing to study at all. "People change," Adam said seriously, I used to dislike studying, but look at me now. Gretchen is willing to make progress. As classmates, we should support her more. Bullshit, Emmett said sourly. She just likes you. You must have hooked up. No one believes that you are together just to study. I believe Adam. Juno smiled. You see? Adam spread his hands to Emmett. It seems that the band's practice time will be shortened in the future. Let's hurry up. After saying that, he rode his bicycle towards home. Juno, you don't really believe him, do you? Emmett kept chattering. He must be going to. There are many kinds of courses, Juno said leisurely, which immediately choked Emmett and made him speechless. Indeed, there are many kinds of courses in American high schools. Many of them are plain and boring, but some people like them. Bullshit. Emmett, who was awakened, said another classic swear word. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22. My classmate is too steady. Daily life in the department goes by very fast. In the blink of an eye, a semester has passed. In the summer vacation of 1990, Adam was 16 years old, and like most American teenagers, he was finally able to learn to drive. Interestingly, the United States does not have the East Country ID card, and the driver's license is equivalent to the ID card, which is full of connotation. Adam, you really don't need me to teach you. I have good skills. Dad, Bob muttered, a little disappointed. No need, I have an appointment with Emmett. He is also good, and he has a lot of time, so it's a waste not to use it. Adam declined. Compared with Bob, he naturally prefers to learn to drive with his peers. In the United States, there are almost no full-time driving instructors. Generally, they are taught by acquaintances who have a driver's license. Familiarize yourself with driving common sense in advance. Find an open space, and drive directly under the command of acquaintances. It is actually very simple to move forward, turn, reverse, go uphill, and park. Even Sheldon, who has a huge fear of driving, always crashes on the simulator, but later he secretly got a driver's license. The key is to have time to practice continuously. It takes only half a day to get the hang of it. Why does Dongo driving school take so long? It's because one coach leads many people and they can only take turns to get on the car. The time to actually practice in the car is actually very short, and it's intermittent, all spent waiting. Okay, Bob was helpless. He still wanted to show his superb skills in front of his son. Although the Duncan family now has 4 children, the one who has the most affection must be Adam, the eldest. Unfortunately, since Adam got rid of his previous stupidity in the past 2 years, the relationship between father and son has become more distant. Many activities between father and son, such as fishing together and playing rugby together, have been cancelled. Now he is not even needed for driving practice. Bob was naturally a little disappointed, but he also understood the mentality of boys who want to play with their peers when they grow up. But he didn't know that Adam is no longer the same Adam. Adam now has no feelings for fishing and rugby, and although Adam has integrated well into the Duncan family because of the familiar warm family atmosphere, there is still a layer of separation. Beep beep beep. Sorry, Emmett is here. Adam smiled at Bob apologetically. Go ahead. Bob calmed down and patted Adam on the shoulder. Be careful. Don't worry, Adam agreed, walked out of the house quickly, got on a passenger seat, and said to Emmett, let's go. Practice early and finish early. I really can't figure it out. Emmett stepped on the accelerator and began to mutter, why don't you practice driving with Gretchen? Her car is so cool. It's not safe, Adam said leisurely. Don't. Emmett paused for a long time before he squinted and said, Pa, so you know it too. Then why are you asking? Adam joked. Shameless. Countless images flashed through Emmett's mind, and he was heartbroken, but his expression was clearly a lemon-like expression of a real man should be like this, and he can replace him. This is just the beginning. The real shameless people will charge for everything. Adam complained in his heart, and teased, you also have Ivy. Didn't you break up again? Ivy, the best friend of Adam's sister Ted, is an African American like Emmett. Unlike Emmett's thinness, Ivy is round and funny, and has a mysterious confidence in her beauty. Emmett has a different opinion on this. Between Ivy and single dogs, he always chooses it without surprise, but he still feels a little disgusted. Therefore, there have been several breakups and reunions between them. Don't mention Ivy to me. This time, I'm completely done with her. Emmett said the same cruel words angrily. Seeing that Adam ignored him, he said unhappily, "Don't you believe it?" "I do." Adam said that he believed it, and he also believed in Wang Jing's HMPH. Emmett naturally knew that Adam was perfunctory, but he really didn't have the confidence to prove himself, so he could only change the subject unhappily. "Why can't I see Juno lately?" Adam's eyes suddenly condensed. During this period, Juno's whereabouts were secretive and she often didn't participate in the group activities of fruit hard candy. Emmett and Sheldon were just surprised and complained, but Adam was a little flustered, because since Juno started reading the thick medical book, he vaguely knew what Juno was busy with. Whether it was out of friendship or wisdom, he seemed to have to advise Juno, but when he thought of Juno's deep eyes that seemed to be able to see through people's hearts, and her terrible views on the introductory surgery of the Sunflower Manual, Adam felt annoyed, and then he did what he wanted. Don't know, don't understand, don't want. It's rare to be confused. All he wants is the wisdom points provided by Juno. Why bother so much, if Juno really can't provide him with wisdom points because of his butterfly effect failure? That's fate, who made him have only a rubbish system that does not provide extraordinary power at all. A gentleman does not stand under a wall. He is neither a middle school boy nor a scumbag. He is the best choice and the final choice to stand aside and watch. Besides, he does not believe that Juno, who is as steady as he is, will fail because of his butterfly effect. You know, in the original Hard Candy movie, Haley, who was incarnated by Juno, did not actually let the photographer practice the Sunflower Manual. It seems that she was just holding a medical book to scare the photographer, but Adam knew that Juno was not just a simple scare, she really had the ability. In the biology experiment class, Juno's skilled dissection technique that made the science teacher admire. "You are so good." Adam did not believe that Juno did not practice privately. This is a small town with a large forest next to it. The natural environment in the United States is well protected, and there are not too many animals in the forest. There are too many perverts in American TV series who started from hunting and slaughtering, and the most famous one is naturally Uncle Ba. After all, humans are also animals. All the information Juno revealed to the photographer, including her name, family information, hobbies, etc., was all set by Juno in advance. It has been a year since she read the medical book, which means that she has been preparing for at least a year. She is so stable that he doesn't need to worry about her. Beep. Hi. Seeing Adam seemed to be in a daze, Emmett honked the horn. "What are you thinking about?" "Nothing." Adam came back to his senses, shook his head, and put Juno's matter aside. "The most important thing now is to learn to drive as soon as possible and get a driver's license." Here we are. Emmett drove into an empty flat land, stopped, and got out of the driveway. "Let's go here." "Okay, you are the coach." Adam got out of the car, shrugged, and exchanged seats with Emmett and sat in the driver's seat. Emmett sat in the passenger seat and repeated some common sense in driving. Then he said, "You're a novice, start in first gear." Hey, what are you doing?" Adam stepped on the clutch skillfully and shifted the gear to second gear. He smiled and said, "For people of high level, they always start in second gear." Emmett, peace. Thanks to the noble rookie for the reward. Chapter 23 Lifelong Enemy. Summer vacation passed quickly. Adam started in second gear and passed the driving test smoothly. His driving skills really made the veteran driver Emmett dumbfounded. Drifting on a curve and overtaking in a drainage ditch were things Emmett dared not even think about, but Adam played them to perfection. Whenever Emmett asked about the skills, Adam smiled and said nothing. When he was pressed, he used talent and appearance to prevaricate. Emmett could understand talent, but what did driving skills have to do with appearance? Fortunately, Emmett was just talking about it. With his character of following his heart, he would never dare to practice such driving skills. A new semester has begun. Adam and his friends are already 10th grade students in the second year of high school. Because of the credit system, Although the 4 members of the Hard Candy Band are classmates, the number of times they take classes together has become less and less. Emmett was naturally the worst. He failed a few courses and had to make up for the lack of credits. Adam and Juno followed the routine. Little Sheldon was urged again and again by all the teachers, and even the principal took the initiative to contact a private high school with free tuition and scholarships for him, but he was unable to go because he was too young. But in the end, he couldn't stand the stupidity of high school, so he asked his grandmother to send him to the best public university in the state every week to take classes with those college students. It didn't take long before the college students in the entire lecture hall were amazed at little Sheldon's genius and annoyed by his hatefulness, especially when the test papers were handed out in class. When little Sheldon looked at their test papers and shook his head and sighed, almost everyone, like the teachers of the county high school, wanted to kill this annoying kid. Fortunately, there are always people who are better than you. What's wrong, Sheldon? Are you unhappy? At lunch, Adam saw little Sheldon listlessly poking at the food but not eating, and asked casually. No. Little Sheldon denied it at first. Then when Adam and the other 2 looked at him, he curled his lips. Well, there are some strange emotions that I don't know how to express. My grandmother said that I was jealous, but I don't think so. Jealous? Adam's eyes lit up and he said excitedly, did you meet someone smarter than you? The first person he thought of was the genius girl Peggy, who he had been waiting for a long time. Adam believed that as long as he became friends with her, his wisdom points would definitely increase again. How is it possible? Little Sheldon's voice became sharp. Although she looks smart, she is definitely not as smart as me. Juno also became interested. Tell us quickly. Emmett also became excited, because he also saw that little Sheldon's mood was not right. Thinking of the jealousy that little Sheldon's grandmother said, he was indescribably excited. Don't blame him for being unrighteous. It's really the meaning that little Sheldon inadvertently revealed in his usual gestures, full of stupid earthlings and you are just talking apes, which is too annoying. Now suddenly someone said that Sheldon might be wrong in terms of IQ. So naturally Sheldon must have something to make everyone happy. Her name is Peggy Adler. Sheldon had no choice but to frown and said, like me, she is also taking classes at the university. How old is she? Juno hit the nail on the head. Sheldon suddenly didn't want to talk anymore. His unique high-definition image memory could not help but present a panoramic view of the first meeting with Peggy. That day, as soon as he entered the lecture hall, he saw a little girl sitting in his seat, which made him very unhappy, but he still reluctantly said hello. Hello, hello. The blonde girl was taking a book out of her pink school bag. When she heard the voice, she looked up and smiled, and told Sheldon her name, Peggy Adler. You look very young, little Sheldon asked in surprise. Did an adult in the class bring you here? No. Peggy smiled and said, Dr. John Sturgis listened to my lecture on quantum chromodynamics at high temperatures, and then invited me to sit in on his class. Is that so? Little Sheldon's face looked a little ugly. Yes. Peggy stared at little Sheldon, and seeing this, she smiled even sweeter, adding, he's so nice to me. Interesting. Little Sheldon just thought that this Peggy was too annoying, and couldn't help it anymore, and said coldly, let me make it clear first. Dr. Sturgis is my mentor and my grandmother's boyfriend. He also came to my house to eat spaghetti with hot dogs. Dr. John Sturgis has too many similarities with Sheldon. If Sheldon doesn't meet Leonard, his roommate from heaven, in the future, there is a 99% chance that he will become another Dr. Sturgis. 70 years old, pure yang, living in scientific research, knows nothing about the ways of the world, alone, without any friends. And not surprisingly, he also has mental illness. Little Sheldon's grandmother is an old lady with good looks. She is very popular among the elderly. Because she sent little Sheldon to attend the class, she met Dr. John Sturgis, and the two of them unexpectedly had a spark. The most excited person about this is not the person involved, but little Sheldon, because he thinks this is the best choice to improve the overall IQ of family members. He is proactive and wants to marry his grandmother to John immediately. Now seeing a little girl suddenly appear and snatch John's attention from him, it would be strange if little Sheldon didn't get angry. So, Peggy chuckled. Little Sheldon got even angrier and said bluntly, "You know this is a very advanced course, right? We will talk about deriving nuclear physics from the quark model." Peggy interrupted with a smile. "Do you know if he will teach you how to use matrix multiplication to perform 8-color gluon operations?" Little Sheldon opened his mouth and his momentum suddenly stagnated. "I don't know." "Then do you know how to do Leibniz's integral rule?" Peggy asked. Little Sheldon looked unhappy. His mouth twitched a little, and he reluctantly said, "I don't know." Peggy sneered. "Then what do you know?" Little Sheldon was about to cry, and said angrily, "I know you sat in my seat." "Peggy." Little Sheldon sat down angrily, not wanting to pay attention to the annoying girl next to him, but the girl was very interested in him. "How old are you?" Little Sheldon finally found his confidence and said proudly, 10 years old." "I'm 10 years old too." Peggy laughed even more happily. "What's your birthday?" "February 26th. Little Sheldon replied subconsciously. "June 25th. Peggy looked back at the lecture hall and smiled happily. "I'm the youngest student in the class. It's really interesting." Little Sheldon could only roll his eyes at her, which meant that his current blacklist had not yet been formed, otherwise Peggy would definitely be at the top of the list and become his lifelong enemy. "I hate her." After finishing the story, Little Sheldon made a summary. "Ha ha ha ha." Emmett couldn't help laughing wildly. Little Sheldon obviously didn't know a saying, "The people you hate often have your own shadow." Adam and Juno couldn't help laughing. They looked at each other. Adam's smile suddenly froze. Something strange flashed in his eyes. He remembered the news. Chapter 24, Can't Provoke, Can't Provoke. Dallas TV station. "Excuse me, is this a murder?" "The police are investigating. There are a lot of indescribable pictures in the deceased's home. Can you confirm that the deceased is a copper smelter?" "The deceased is a photographer. As for whether he is a copper smelter, this needs to be confirmed after further investigation. There are rumors that this is a revenge. There are many missing girls in the indescribable pictures in the deceased's home, such as Donna Maurer. It is still unclear whether the deceased committed suicide or was murdered, but yes, there are indescribable pictures of missing girls such as Donna in the deceased's home. The police are investigating the relationship between the deceased and these missing girls. Since Juno began to move mysteriously, Adam has developed the habit of reading news from all over the world every day. Not long ago, he finally saw a familiar taste in the news report of the TV station in the neighboring city of Dallas. Then he immediately went to the internet cafe to check more relevant information. As expected, the keyboard warriors had already been dispatched. The deceased was called Jeff, 30 years old, single, a photographer, and was well known in the industry. The first person to call the police was his first love, ex-girlfriend Jill. "I heard that this guy is a copper smelter. It's good for such a scum to die." "Don't say that. It hasn't been determined yet." "How can we determine it? Are those photos fake?" "The other party is a photographer and an artist. Although it's not good to take these photos, it doesn't mean that he is a criminal. Even if he is a criminal, he can only be judged by the law." "Shit. Damn artist. How dare you tell the Child Protection Agency that photographers and artists can take those photos?" "Of course he doesn't dare. Just look at his username. Photography Edison teacher." "Maybe he is also a perverted copper smelter like the deceased," reported. Shocked. "The mysterious girl is not to be messed with." "Mysterious girl." "My aunt's brother-in-law's father-in-law is at the local police station. I heard that when they asked the neighbors said that they saw a girl who was said to be the niece of the deceased. There was also movement in the house. Because the neighbors suspected that the deceased had always liked Girl Scouts, they took the initiative to check on the house and met this girl. Not long after, the deceased's ex-girlfriend came to the door, and the deceased jumped from the building. Before he died, he was almost face to face with his ex-girlfriend. His expression was extremely distorted and painful, and tears were flowing from the corners of his eyes. He died with his eyes open. After the police investigation, it was confirmed that there were traces of binding and fighting, but no fingerprints or clues were found. Obviously, the mysterious girl was very experienced. Moreover, the deceased jumped from the roof and suffocated to death by hanging. The rope was precisely calculated to ensure that the heels of the deceased could not touch the ground and that the deceased was as close to the ground as possible. If the ex-girlfriend of the deceased had not been scared silly and reached out to lift the deceased, perhaps the deceased would not have died. Isn't this too unprofessional? If the ex-girlfriend of the deceased really saved the deceased, wouldn't it be exposed? What do you know? Is the suspect afraid of being exposed? If the neighbor did not lie, and the suspect was just a little girl, what punishment do you think she would receive? At most, she would be sent to a juvenile detention center for education for a few years, and she could even find a lawyer to argue that she was deceived by the deceased and was hurt and was defending herself. But she even cleaned up the fingerprints and everything. Doesn't this count as premeditated? That depends on whether the jury is willing to believe the girl or a copper smelter. But why did she calculate the length of the rope? Isn't it better to be on the safe side? This is where it gets interesting. According to the police profiler's analysis, the suspect girl might have done this to torture the deceased to the maximum extent possible. The deceased's first love ex-girlfriend was very important to the deceased. The reason why the suspect girl took the risk of being exposed and took the initiative to call her over was to show the deceased's disgusting side to the people he least wanted to show it to. I get it. The reason why the rope had to be calculated accurately was to make the deceased face the ex-girlfriend who came over, to make the deceased look directly into the ex-girlfriend's eyes, and to kill him psychologically before his physical death. Damn. You said the deceased jumped by himself. Could it be that he was threatened by the mysterious girl not to expose the corners of his ugly copper smelter face in front of his first love ex-girlfriend, and after he jumped, he realized that he might have been deceived by the mysterious girl, so he burst into tears and died with his eyes open? Your speculation is very interesting. Impossible? It can't be that scary, right? It really is that scary. After the autopsy, the police found that the lower limbs of the deceased had signs of torture. According to the results of the on-site cleaning, the psychological profiler analyzed that the suspect girl was very likely to make the deceased practice the sunflower manual, thereby psychologically torturing the deceased. Is this the real version of the Punisher? No. Calculating the psychological shadow area of the deceased before his death, it is definitely more cruel than the Punisher. Although it's not good to say this, I really don't want the mysterious girl to be caught. Yes, don't worry, with her age and identity, and the fact that she didn't really do anything, even if she is caught, the punishment will be very light, and she is more likely to be acquitted. Haha. Do you think the police can really catch her? Don't be silly. The plots in TV dramas where the cases are solved like gods are all lies. The real situation is that countless cases have become unsolved cases, and the rate of solving crimes with high IQ like the mysterious girl is even more shockingly low. And you sympathize and understand the mysterious girl, don't others? Look at the portrait that the police drew based on the description of the deceased's neighbors. Isn't it too sloppy? It's just a common face. Besides, the person who died was a copper smelter, and he solved the cases of those missing girls in disguise. The police didn't thank the mysterious girl, and why would they be willing to invest a lot of manpower and resources to track her down? If this kind of thing is true, it should be made into a movie, so that those copper smelters can watch it. If they don't feel a chill in their crotch, I will respect them. Adam looked at the comments, and then at the profile picture of the suspect girl released by the police. He didn't look like Juno at all, and he breathed a sigh of relief unconsciously. It seems that his 0.005 wisdom points per day have been saved, but when he thought of the analysis of the keyboard warriors, Adam was still a little scared. He had seen the movie Hard Candy, and he understood better than these keyboard warriors who relied purely on guesswork how badly this bronze photographer was tortured by Juno, and this psychological shadow area was completely infinite. The bronze photographer thought that he was the insidious big bad wolf, and Haley, who was incarnated by Juno, was a simple little Red Riding Hood, but he never thought that this was a bloodthirsty little Red Riding Hood, who turned around and tortured and killed him. The big bad wolf, looking at Juno, who didn't show any abnormality after doing this big thing, and still played with him with a smile on her face, Adam could only say, "I can't afford to offend you. I can't afford to offend you." Chapter 25 Overturning the Table. At night, At the Cooper's house, Shirley, guess who's coming to play tomorrow? As soon as little Sheldon got home, his mother Mary said excitedly, "Your new friend Peggy. Are you happy?" "Peggy is not my friend." Little Sheldon immediately looked disgusted. "What?" Mary was startled, and her excitement calmed down a little. "Isn't Peggy taking Dr. John Sturgis's class with you?" "Yes," little Sheldon said expressionlessly. "It can only be said that we take classes together, and we can barely be considered classmates, but we are definitely not friends." "Don't be like that." Mary probably guessed the reason, but she really wanted Peggy's family to come over tomorrow. After all, in all these years, she has never met a special family with a similar situation to her own, and she is eager to communicate with them to see if she has made any mistakes in educating Sheldon. "Shelley, maybe you two will become good friends, just like Adam and Juno." "Adam and Juno are friends," little Sheldon said coldly. "Peggy is not a friend, let alone a good friend." "I don't like her, and I don't plan to like her." Mary was speechless, thinking to herself, next time, don't use the word good friend, especially in front of Adam and Juno. It seems that Peggy is really smart, otherwise Shelley wouldn't react so much. Little Sheldon is honest enough, but he is a mama's boy, and he is no match for Mary. Mary first complained frankly that she didn't have many friends and hoped to make friends with Peggy's mother, then took a step back and said that if little Sheldon really didn't want to, she wouldn't force him. Facing Mary's expectant eyes, the mama's boy little Sheldon, who was determined just now, hesitated and said he would think about it, and then Mary surprisingly invited Peggy's parents to visit. The next day, afternoon, ding dong. "Welcome, welcome." Hi, Mrs. Cooper." "Hi, Adam, Juno, it's you." Mary had obviously dressed up and smiled her brightest when she opened the door, but when she saw Adam and Juno, her smile froze. "You are here to see Shelley, right?" "We have guests coming today, so it may not be convenient, or, it's okay." Adam pretended not to know and smiled. "It was Peggy that Sheldon mentioned. We came to see them. In case they get mad, we can still persuade them. I was just kidding." Hee. Mary forced a laugh, thinking that Adam's words were not rude, and with Adam and Juno around, it might really have some effect, so she turned sideways and let the two in. Shelley is in the bedroom, in front of the dressing mirror. Little Sheldon was facing the mirror, constantly adjusting the position of his necktie, with a tangled and unhappy look on his face. He was a little surprised to see Adam and Juno coming over. "Hey, why are you here?" "We came to support you." Adam lied. "You are our friend." Juno rolled his eyes. Although Adam's name has been excluded from the blacklist, every time she sees Adam actively approaching younger children, she still has the urge to dissect Adam's brain and see what is inside. "Is that so?" Little Sheldon smiled and felt the warmth of friendship for the first time. He unconsciously improved his favorability towards Adam and Juno. These are all unconscious. If it were normal, without a dog like Leonard who licked him for 4 or 5 years, little Sheldon would not have a clear feeling about friendship. But now under the threat of Peggy's IQ, little Sheldon felt it in advance. After all, what he is most proud of is his genius IQ. He asks himself that except for scientific giants such as Einstein, Newton, and Hawking, there is no one on Earth who can really communicate with him. But the communication with Peggy a few days ago completely broke his pride. He is not the youngest super genius. Peggy is 1 month younger than him, and when talking about physics, Peggy often makes him speechless. Anger and sadness intertwined, this emotion called jealousy by his grandmother, made him feel overwhelmed, and he subconsciously wanted the comfort of others, even if it was the stupid earthlings he had always believed in his heart. Adam naturally couldn't guess what little Sheldon was thinking now, otherwise he would definitely go to the next door to pick up a chicken and chase little Sheldon up the tree. His purpose this time was very clear, to hook up with Peggy and make Peggy a new growth point for him to improve his wisdom. "How do you feel now?" Juno was very interested in Sheldon's current emotions. Vulcans use a trick called Krinla to suppress emotions. Little Sheldon frowned and said, "It's a pity that I only have Vulcan hearing. But I'm not a Vulcan. Now I can only bury my emotions in the deepest part of my heart. If I become a heartless person in the future, don't be surprised. You can do it." Adam gave a thumbs up. "Shelley, They're here. Mary's call came from the living room. It started. Little Sheldon took a deep breath, straightened his body, and walked towards the living room with the stiff steps of Sheldon's version of not recognizing relatives. The living room was already full of people. "Hi, Sheldon." A little blonde girl opened her arms and gave little Sheldon a warm hug. Little Sheldon showed a look of despair. Mary introduced everyone enthusiastically, and then the couple and Peggy's parents sat in the living room to chat. Peggy's sister was dragged by Sheldon's brother and sister George and Missy to play in the backyard. Adam and Juno followed Sheldon and Peggy to Sheldon's bedroom. "Since we are going to spend a few hours together, I have listed some activities to keep us busy," little Sheldon introduced expressionlessly. "We will start by visiting my room, and then play board games. If there is still time, you can look at my train model, but you are absolutely not allowed to touch it." "Hi, Sheldon, don't be so serious, we are all friends." Adam showed an ordinary smile. "Peggy, I am Sheldon's good friend Adam. She is Juno. Nice to meet you." Peggy looked straight at Adam. Adam's smile gradually couldn't be maintained, and for some reason, he felt uncomfortable all over. "Do you play chess?" Peggy suddenly laughed. "Yeah." Adam forced a smile. "Of course." "Then let's play." Peggy took Sheldon's chessboard and gestured. Juno watched the scene with amusement. "Checkmate. I won." After a few moves, Peggy clapped her hands and laughed. "Sheldon, it's your turn?" "Okay." Little Sheldon came over. Then the two of them played chess while talking about quantum mechanics, oblivious to the people around them. Juno watched with interest. Adam had a dark face throughout the whole process, until little Sheldon overturned the table because the system still did not give any prompts. P.S. Thanks to use any unting for the reward. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.